Down boom, and we're. Well, I think we're about to go live. Yeah, we're live now, man. Perfect,
Evening.
mate. So we were just before we go in live, and I kind of give people maybe listening and stuff a bit of a heads up. We were just talking about how general. Um, we were saying really that how big a company or an organization gets on, what drives it beyond money, because we were saying that you can have all the money in the world and you can have all your desires fulfilled and you can drive in the Ferrari or whatever your desires may be, but then what do you do? And then it's what drives, we were just discussing what drives these people. And so you were just saying, and I think get great to pick up again, you were just saying about it's basically just to suppress men for the need of ego.
It feels that way, doesn't it? I mean, yeah. I mean, like I was saying, I mean, you just have to question. Don't take things how they are. You just have to question everything, man, and try and find some truth in it. But yeah, I mean, like we were chatting about before, like pharmaceutical companies and just different drugs and things. You don't really know what you're putting into you, really, and the same for you can question the water supply, you can question what's in the air outside, and then there's reason, there must be reason for this madness.
Well, man, reason or not, I mean, I think the most essential thing, and I think it plays, particularly what I know is running through, your whole kind of history as a band and stuff like that. And we were tapping on it before that, you know, maybe there's not a reason, maybe there is a reason. That's not important, but there should never be any barriers between a human being, and knowledge, and that's just what I was just saying to you before we go live. We should all have the ability to know what has been written about us, and equally we should have the ability to open up all knowledge. That's what the great thing about the internet, man. I mean, God knows. I mean, 10 years ago, man, to know any of this stuff, you'd have to go on to down to the library and sit there amongst all the, all the people with glasses and sitting there. And now you just Google it. And I'd rather be in that world than I would be 20 years ago, man. Trust me.
Wow, it's powerful, like, isn't it? Do you know what I mean? Knowledge at your fingertips, man. And
It
they say
is.
knowledge is power, you know what I mean? So that, yeah, it truly is, mate.
It is, because it's. I mean, what's always fascinating then is, like with everything, when you start to realise, and as I said, I mean, we can all judge for ourselves what's right and what isn't right, and that's where you should put everything into the seat of reason and sit it down and question it. Even your own beliefs, man. We've said this
Yeah.
before. Your own friendships. This goes in your whole life, man. Because as we discussed this many times. I mean, you learn this as you walk through the journey of life, that sometimes you have to sit yourself down and, you know people come and people go, feelings come and feelings go, attitudes come and go, and you have to question all of them, because if not, you get stuck into a mindset. And as you lot say, once you get into a mindset of that, man, it's not long before you're spouting off some bollocks.
Yeah, that's it, man. It's all changed, man. Everything's changing constantly, it's all cycles as well, I think you can, I mean, you touch on it a lot with your artwork and that, but how nature, these kind of cycles in the seasons. So like the moon, like it was super moon last night, and
You seen it tonight, Tim?
The moon.
I tried, but you know what? I went out.
See it last night.
I went out last night and I tried to see, because it was a perfectly clear sky,
Yeah.
and I mean, other than me going out, I couldn't see it anywhere. I was like, well, what's going on here?
I didn't
Whoa.
believe it. There's been a lot of media coverage on it and stuff like that, man. I can see it now from where I'm sat. It's fucking massive. Like it's it's a big harvest moon. It's quite close to Earth. I think it's the closest it's been to us in like 33 years or something like that. Yeah, I think it's powerful shit, man. You can look to the fucking the skies, look to the stars, to the fucking moon, man, and I mean, there's more truth in that than fucking all these big fucking companies or doctors' prescriptions or any of this bollocks that we're told in the media. Do you know what I mean? That's where I sort of see it, and that anyway.
Mate, as I said many times before, and this is one of the things I think we tapped upon in previous podcasts, that one of the great illusions that goes on at the moment is the fact that everybody, like most people tonight, you can almost guarantee will be stuck indoors, or if they're out, they'll be at a pub. And how many people go out and like just did the exact exercise you just said, and actually go out and look at the stars? Because once you do go out and look at the stars, you start to realise how insignificant we are, how small and fragile our little period of slice of time is, and equally, it's the old thing. Man, you just realise, if nothing else, that we're just specks on a rock that's tumbling through space, and there's nobody in control of it. There ain't no, driver of the spaceship. We're just tumbling in a universe, and around us forever is just blackness. And if that doesn't start to freak your mind out, and that's why I think, as I said, that's why there's street lights, and that's why there's all the distractions. They don't want people going out there and going, whoa, wait a minute, I'm taking my life too seriously. I'm getting worried about putting my tie on straight. Wait a minute, we're tumbling through space, whether it's dark or not. But that's what that's the small part of the illusions that are around us, aren't they?
Everything's a distraction. Like, they're trying to distract you from it, and even looking in the sky, mate. You get to somewhere in the countryside or something, and you see the stars. The longer you seem to look there, the more you tend to see, and then you start noticing other things like fucking satellites, and that's all distractions as well, man. Like, that's what I reckon. So yeah, you got to try and look beyond even that shit sometimes. You know what I mean? Look the truth in the eye and then fucking question that, man. Like, fucking look in the mirror and question that a million times. And you're gonna get a different answer, aren't you? A different perspective, man.
Yeah, man.
But like you say, a fucking speck of sand tumbling through fucking space.
It puts everything in
perspective, man.
And it's a beautiful thing. It really is when you do look at that, and it's powerful, man. All the answers are in the stars, man.
Well, I think the most powerful concept of that is the fact that we have an awareness that we can actually consider that. You know what I mean? Because that's just to understand that we are on a rock. It's an amazing. I mean, man, we could have been born a slug. We could have been born. We could have been born anything else. And the idea that we've got consciousness and we can actually be aware of that, and then we can start discussing it, man. It's. I think that's, like you said, that's the most. That's why we should all stay positive, because we're a long time dead. And we can talk about whether we think there's an existence after death, but all we do know is that we're a long time dead, man.
Yeah, man. Living every day like we're dead.
Yeah, I mean, going back to what you were just saying then, Dan, I love to go out, and as you know, I love to go out, and especially at night time, especially up here in Scotland, because we don't get so much light pollution. So you really do get to see. I've seen the Milky Way, which I never thought would be possible in Great Britain. When you look at it, and you see it, and all the magnificence of the Milky Way. But sometimes one of the things that really bends my mind more is when I look up and I see maybe the space centre going across, and you think, man. Right. There's a human being up there, and that is a real mind blow that we've been able to take ourselves off a planet and we can live up there and look down at this. It's the monkeys aren't doing that, man. There's not a lion. It's true, man. There ain't a tiger or a lion looking up at space and thinking, oh, up there is a tiger overlord driving a spaceship. We can. That's an amazing concept, man.
Yeah, for real, definitely, man.
I mean, the reason I say that, man. I mean, it plays into my point. That's why I always try to look at it as a positive experience. Because I think if we can do that, and that's the possibilities of humans who put their mind together to be that. What could be? How much potential could we unleash if we just got rid of all the wars and distractions that you're talking about, and just concentrated and got over this kind of, let's all fight each other, and let's get over that one, and imagine the potential we could unleash, because we can already put people up there, and that's with the world as it is. That's what always, to me, is the most inspiring and positive thing about why it's all we can do. Maybe we never get to see it. I hope I am. I hope I'm alive in the time when I do get to see this and we see these things disappear, and I hope that's why we flag the flag for what we do. But man, that's what inspires me, because I just think the human potential, if we can get over that, like you said, that ego thing about not liking other people for the color of their skin or because of whatever it may be, and if we do have a disagreement, maybe we need to get to the evolutionary point of like, well, can't we just sit down and discuss this shit rather than getting a gun out and throwing some metal into another human being?
Yeah, for real, mate. Like, Simon. This is, sorry, mate. I mean, definitely, mate. I mean, do you know what I mean? As peoples, man, Yeah, I mean, it's fairly simple, man. What's good and what's wrong. Yeah, I mean, what's right and what's wrong in that, and you know, all this, you know, war, all this prejudice, all these negative things, man. That you don't fucking need that, man. You just need to stay positive, like you say, man. And there is so much potential,
so much distractions and so much illusions, though, man. Like so much fucking smoke and mirrors, mate. Like. You know, like wars are there for a reason, aren't they? Really, someone's making money out of whatever. Or yada yada yada. Bigger picture again. Yeah,
fucking evil.
It boils down to that monetary system. Why do we have that monetary system? So some fuckers can be more powerful. Why the fuck do they want to be more powerful? Because they have a bigger fucking ego. They're fucking afraid to lose that, so they're going to keep feeding it, and fucking, you know, people are living in a virtual fucking reality, and we tap on it every time now, and it's just like it feels like people are starting to wake up a lot more to a lot of the fucking lies and bullshit that we're sort of fed. And I think that's why these are such important times. And I think that's also, you know, it's setting the seeds for them, that sort of that tranquility and that fucking that next level shit that you're talking about, Tim.
It's a transitional period, man.
It's a transitional period, indeed. So yeah, I hear that, man.
It is, because I think that, you know, I've tapped upon this before, and I think we talked about it before. But you know, I do think that right now we're living through a renaissance, and it is our new renaissance. And I often think that if people had been alive in the last renaissance, how many people would have actually been alive at the time would have realised and stopped and seen what was going on around them? Not many, probably. It probably all just went past them, and then they died. And like, you know, and it wasn't till time afterwards, and it's taken us to realise what that actually meant. And that's where we are now, because what we're seeing now, and I've seen this, man, and you know, in my lifetime, is that these conversations are possible. You know, the conversations have been like using what we're doing now, and you know, as a campfire. We're just sitting around talking real stuff, being open about it, and this ability where it's just gone from being, as it always has been with humanity, has gone from being, we all, you know, originally we sat around a campfire and did it, and then we basically, well, we got, you know, telephones to do it, which means like we can extend our horizon just a little bit further. And now look at us, man, we can connect with people over the world. And then you think the next level of that stuff's coming, where anybody can connect with anybody, and there's nobody sitting there between hand and trying to filter stuff off or cut stuff off. Man, I think that's what you said. It is. We're going through a metamorphosis part of our existence as a human species. But I don't know how many people are aware of how momentous these days are. You know, I mean, that's what I'm saying. We've already, in the first 10, 15 minutes, we've spoken about humans going to space. We've spoken about the ability of, you know, understanding, you know, what's being fed to us through drugs. Man, this is 50, 60 years ago, man. People didn't understand what Africa was, or what, you know, we've moved on so much and so rapidly. I think that's what always gives me optimism and the hope is we are living in a new renaissance, and just as it was, particularly like pre-Renaissance and old. I mean, that's what I'm saying. Pre-Renaissance, they were killing anybody that, you know, happened to think that the Earth, you know, the world didn't revolve around the Earth, the universe didn't spin around the Earth. After that, with the printing press and knowledge spreads, people understand that, and you know, now we wouldn't consider anybody to, you know, the world span around, you know, everything span around the Earth as a fool. But this is what's going on now. You know, future generations will definitely look back at us right now and think, wow, did they really think this? Did they really think that? Did they really think this? You know, and that's where, and I'm not, you know, I think that's where people like yourselves and, you know, myself, and with, you know, as it was in the Renaissance last time, it's always the artists and the creative people that understand this. And the real Renaissance that's going to go on, I think, is going on now, is that the artists and the creative people are all starting to speak to the scientists, are starting to speak to the doctors, you know, and we're all starting to really connect and share real knowledge around them. That's why I say we live in a Renaissance right now.
Yeah, no, I hear that, Tim. Like, yeah, I think that's fascinating, man. I think that's right. I think that's right enough.
Really.
Yeah, I mean, it's transition.
Like you say, you look back at the last 50, 60 years, man. Look how much shit has changed. You know, from the way people perceive others, you know, like stuff with race and that. Obviously, there's still a lot of problems in the world, but I think we're all, you know, gravitating towards more unity, you know. And I think that's what we all need to do, really, man.
Too right, man. And I feel that, you know, Maysafe is like, you know, it's coming around at a perfect time, because I mean these technologies and stuff that we are utilising, and we are like, that's what we use to connect and all this sort of stuff. It's still
it's the next level.
It's the next level, because the stuff that we have now, you still got to question it. But when something comes along, which is, you know what I mean, it takes it to that next level and it evolves, and then the people can evolve with the technology.
Yeah, man, it goes back to what you were just saying then. I mean, what's always I found inspirational. I mean, I heard about Mesa was they've always associated it and seen it as just a natural expression. They've just copied nature and said, like, and that's exactly what we were just talking about previously. You know, what we're seeing now is from every angle, man. And I'm not just talking about, you know, the Safe Network and Mesa and stuff. But you can see it everywhere. Everything you're seeing, that everything is basically just nature rising, and more. Look at more into technology or sciences, and the more of that, the ones that are doing doing the most effective work are the ones that are just basically replicating what's gone on in nature. Same with technology, same with engineering, and we're seeing it everywhere. And it's been the foolishness and the arrogance of mankind to think that we're better than nature and we've got better solutions. When basically all we are, is like you were just saying then, Dan, we are just all part of this bubble that lives on, you know, on this rock. There's nothing, you know, we're all, why we think we're separate from that and that we're not. That's because I think about that mindset. When you get the mindset of saying that we're separate from nature, it then kind of eases the guilt inside your mind, which says, "Oh, I don't mind scooping up all the oil. I don't mind chucking plastic into the sea," because, you know, that's why those people pump that narrative out. They want to make themselves feel less guilty for what they do, don't they?
Yeah, that's right, man.
Right.
Hey, Ryan,
I don't know if it's the same for the demons, but Tim, you got to put your mic closer to your mouth.
Okay, man, can you hear me now?
Yeah, a little bit.
Yeah, it was just.
How's it going, Ryan?
It was very soft.
How you going, Ryan?
Just hanging out, doing whatever. How you guys doing?
Yeah, not so bad, thanks, mate. It's nice to see you and that, man. Like, cheers for sending some beats and that as well. The one yesterday, was it? I've had a quick listen to it, and it sounds really dope. And that drum and bassy one that you sent last week, yeah, that's really cool. Feeling it. Cool, really feeling it, man. Like some good stuff. You say them ones have been kicking around for a little bit, have they? Or
what was that last part?
You say you've had them tunes kicking around for a little bit?
Yeah, actually, both of them were kind of around for a while, because one of the shitty things about digital music is sometimes if you switch a computer, or if you start moving folders, or you start moving files, you end up losing certain things. So I think with the drum and bass one, I remember that one came before the Asian sounding one, and I had like some synths over it or something, and then throughout the years, like switching programs, I would go back and listen to it, and I'd be like, oh shit, a bunch of these synths are gone. Like they would just disappear, and I wouldn't be able to recreate what I had done or whatever. And yeah, with I think it was either Chinese or Japanese, but the more Chinese sounding beat had that one was just kind of a pain for me to come up with some sort of chorus for it. I had the main guts of it for a long time. I was telling Tim probably 8 years maybe, and with the drums and the Chinese sample, and then the piano that I was playing over top of it. Yeah, I had that for many years and could really never figure out a way to finish it. But it's like I said, it's slowly getting there. It's still a work in progress.
Yeah, man. No, that's cool, man. That's cool.
It sounded nice though, man. I like both of them. I like that there's kind of like a synth in the first one you sent, the D&B one, and I think it's a synth, but it sounds to me a bit like bagpipes as well. Yeah. I don't know if you know what I mean, but yeah, it's fucking dope, man.
Well, what's weird is they actually both have they both have Asian instruments, and then they both have instruments that to me sounded sort of Scottish. Which the second one that I sent, the horn that comes in, I think it was kind of like a saxophone that I had played around with on the sound. Like that one to me sounded very I don't know, either Irish or Scottish or just up in that area. And then at the drum and bassy one that I sent you, there's a string in there. I think it like starts in the beginning and pretty much goes throughout the whole thing, where it's just like it's like one note that plays for like maybe half a beat, and then like another note lower comes in later, and it's the same thing, like a half a beat long. And that was actually another Chinese sample that I had taken. I can't remember where I got it from, but they were all actually like really small samples that were maybe only a second or two long, and they weren't loops or anything. It was more of just the sound. And then I just kind of manipulated the sound so that way it's not like there's no sort of sampling issue or law breaking or anything like that.
Yeah, that's cool, man. Yeah, man. Nah, yeah, cool. Totally, man. That sounds dope. I was gonna say, don't give away all your secrets, like. I
got too many secrets.
Right, you mentioned you play piano. Was that actually a electrical piano or as a wooden piano?
No, that's the keyboard piano that I told you about on the Wighead episode.
Right. Okay. No, that's what I'm saying, mate.
Where I'm literally playing on the keyboard of my computer, and because I have a cordless keyboard, I can play like a guitar if I want to, and I can stand up and I do.
That's dope.
Which what's funny is if people come over, I usually because they don't really see me make music, but they know that I do it and they hear it a lot, and then I'll put on like some sort of synth that I've made, and just like I'll get real goofy, like stand up and start like hitting stuff on the keyboard, like yeah.
You should make a video. Yes, lad.
Ryan's keyboard guitar solo.
Yeah, right on.
You could give it a series of instructional videos.
Yeah. Guitar your keyboard.
How to feel cool and lose all your friends at the same time.
Hashtag right there, man. Yeah, so lads, fucking what 1 year on since
Happy birthday,
since the first Life as People, man. Like fucking, how mental is that? I mean, how it's gone really quickly, and the amount of ones that you have done and that. This is clocking up to what, 71?
Yeah,
that's fucking impressive, that, lads.
Tim's like the Octomom of podcasting. He just keeps pushing them out, like
rallying the troops and just churning them out, man. Like you've got a production line going here, mate. You've got a production line. Good, man. Yeah, man. But yeah, because we were obviously on the first one that you did in that last year, which was I think we just come back from a gig or something, or we're about to go to Amsterdam or something. Just before Amsterdam, I think we were talking about that quite a bit. Yeah, man.
Ages ago.
Yeah, man. It is ages ago, but at the same time, it's just mental to see what's happened. It just sort of flies, man. It's weird, like reflecting on a 12-month period, man. It's always strange, man. But I think the podcast has definitely been a positive thing. I know how Tim made it off the back of that other podcast and that, and for it to still be going to this day, I think that's a really strong testament to it. Yeah, damn right.
Well, man,
1 year.
And to Tim for having the patience and getting all the guests and dealing with Google Hangout for a year.
Yeah, exactly, mate. Exactly. It's one of them things though, when sometimes you don't realise how much you've like put into something until you sort of do look back on it. And it's good. Yeah, take a step back, and it's good to pat yourself on the back and that, and give yourself some credit for the effort that you put into it and that.
Well,
I think it's good.
Well, man, again, and as you know, and I've said this many times. I mean, the only reason for this podcast comes, well, the title, as you know. I mean, that was a completely seed sown. You sown on my birthday, that, and particularly you two, particularly, yeah. And I don't want to go into sort of, personals, but you know the conversation you had with me, and why this all started, and yeah, and then. I think what's inspired me most about this podcast, and doing it over the last sort of year, has been, we set off to do this just to fly a flag, as I said to you before the podcast, treat it as a campfire, to sit around and have some real conversations, and you know what I mean. And sometimes, man, we've gone balls deep with, like, almost 4 hours and stuff with people. But I think the great thing about it, and I beyond the fact that, as you're saying, it's seeds sown and stuff like that, and that's what we're doing. We're flying flags and sowing seeds. But what has been, I think, the most, I think I'm most proud about the podcast in itself, and it's been nothing to do with me. It's just been the idea that through it, connections have been made, and some of the great collaborations have been made. I mean, it was through this, a year ago, man, when you would never have even considered we would have got, like, Follow the Lights. It was through these, and there's so many examples of that. And this is just as I said to you before we were going live, this is just a what I think all media should be about. It should always be about connecting people, and it's the great things that come from that. Like you say, if you take ideas and they're inspired, and then something else comes across, and people meet and collaborate, and it's been, do you know what I mean? As you were saying, these are just journals, and to me, the journal of what the whole of this life experience is listening to, like Follow the Lights, or listen to some of the stuff that you've done with with Wicked, or outside your houses, or just the other collaborations that have gone, even between people that you maybe not know aware of, and how they've met and connected, because that is a true essence of what we're trying to do, is just connect people. And this is the same common thing that I know you two have as a band. That's what you're trying to do. That's what I fly the flag for. And I know even Ryan, in his in his own roundabout way, as he is, he does try to connect people.
Hey, I just tried connecting Paul Mackey, the guy that I'm doing that I shot that segment for his movie, that he's trying to break 2 world records of the most directors used and the most countries filmed in, and he's having no problem finding directors, but finding different countries has been sort of a problem for him. And I just threw him a name from some guy that I think, like, we were following each other on Twitter. He put out something saying, like, can anybody do, he wanted a background sound. I've talked about it on the podcast, I think, where he just wanted, like, a background sound of, like, a bar brawl, and he just wanted, like, a WAV file of just some background noise. And so I was like, yeah, I could probably do that. And I went through and I made him something and sent it to him. And I mean, I don't think I've heard from him since, but when Paul was looking for people in different countries, I was like, I'm pretty sure this guy's from Sweden or somewhere around there. And I found him in my Twitter log, or whatever you call it, and he was from Nova Scotia. And so I, like, went right to Paul and was like, hey, Paul, like, reach out to this guy. He's in Nova Scotia. Get you another country.
Yeah, well, man, that's cool.
Well, that's what I was saying. It's perfect examples of the whole, this collaboration thing. And I think it's, I mean, that's what I look back on. I look back at, I mean, when I was actually considering this today, because I know beyond Life is People, today's quite a special day, man. I mean, it was a year ago that you guys dropped Dual Sides. Obviously, the whole Cody thing, it's quite a sort of a moment to stay for us all, really. And I think when you look back, which is, you're allowed one day a year, like you're saying, Dan, where you can sort of look back, and you look back what's gone on in the last year, and you think so much has happened. I mean, darkness, we've had some dark times, some good times. I mean, all of us. But it's the fact of, out of that, you look at all the legacies, as you would say, as your tune says, man, the legacies left, and it's amazing, really, when you look back about where all three of us in our own particular fields, where we've all been, what's gone on, what's been created, and beyond all the the good times and the bad times, we can at least look back and go, oh yeah, I left that, and I think all the things that I definitely can say, everything that either you as guys as the Demons, and I know I'm not, as you know, right, everything you drop, they're both excellent. Things that you're going to look back with, you should not pride, because that's an ego thing, but you should look back and go, yeah, I did a good job, and that's and you think what you've been what's been going on the last year. All I know is I've looked back at the last year and I've just seen. I mean, you were saying about the Oxford, man. I mean, we've all been, man, the amount of stuff that's been pumped out by all people I know. I know. You boys have you been doing gigs after gigs after gigs and dropping this and dropping that and collaborating and God knows, Ryan, man. I mean, you've been like a machine the last year, man.
It's only like
Going, mate. Keep it lit, man.
it's only like three music videos, a short film, 2 other music videos that I want to shoot. I think we're up to like 5 or 6 songs with Wighead. Yeah, I guess I was pretty busy. Didn't seem like it, but.
Well, let alone, Ryan, how many hours did we calculate? It must be about 92 hours you sat there when we sat in this podcast. That's another big chunk of your life taken away, man.
Yeah. I guess I guess I can add the life as people onto that too, because that was you can actually physically see and count all the hours.
Mate, you put in some good shifts, mate. You put some really good shifts.
Looking right on. When are we getting tattoos, boys?
As soon as Tim gets a tattoo gun, a needle gun, and
he gets a tattoo gun, and then we're coming to the US to find you, Ryan.
And I've already told Tim, like, if I don't have any tattoos, but I'm sure the first one's gonna be a Tim tattoo.
Life is people.
That'd be good. That'd be good.
I can already see the very first program on the network, man. Let's hunt down Ryan R.W. Martin. You know what I mean? And there's a bounty reward in your head there, Ryan. That's the first TV show on the network.
I just hope you don't show up while I'm making sandwiches. With my hat and my apron on.
But no, man. I mean, it's sort of like to, I mean, sort of take it back, man. And it was something that we were talking before we were going live, Dan. And I think this is another great thing. It plays into this thing again. It's been connecting people, like you were saying. It's people like Calm, and through that, you can connect other people in other countries, and that's what I'm saying, man. That's the inspirational part of this, because it's allowing. This free dialogue of people allows ideas to be spread and formulated, and then you can go away, and people listening can go away, and they can check on stuff like that, man. I mean, like we were saying before, the podcast, man. We're nothing but monkeys poking in the dark, man. I mean, but hey, I'm not just spouting this stuff out of my arse, man. I do read this stuff, and I just point and flag the way and say, look, hey, check this stuff out, check that stuff out, and that's all we can do, man, because that's the very essence of life. Because if you, like we were saying before, the minute you stop doing that, you become dishonest, man. You wouldn't do that amongst your mates. You wouldn't withhold information amongst your friends, and that's the essence of being human, like you said. That's the unity connection bit. Well, at least we can all be honest with each other.
Definitely, mate. Man. Let's push things forward. That's it.
Yeah, man. I mean, as you were saying, I mean, look, particularly why Ryan's popping out, man. I mean, look, particularly you guys, man. I mean, you've had a very kind of eventful year, and I know there's some things we're not going to talk about when I don't want to talk about, but you've had a really eventful year since we started this up a year ago. I mean, like I say, it was a year ago you just dropped Dual Sides, and you just played Down the Rabbit Hole, and we just had that whole experience. And like you say, that was pre you going to Amsterdam, and you think what's gone on since then, man, and you, let alone what's coming up. And I don't, you got. Well, we haven't even spoken since the last time we've spoken again. I mean, how did the tram lines go? That was another perfect example of a massive event that's kind of and the long list of events that's happened to you, lad, since we started this a year ago.
Yes, mate, it certainly is. No, that was a fucking that was a blinder, man. It was good, really good opportunity, really good city to get down to. We haven't played in Sheffield prior to that, so it was good to test the water down in South Yorkshire, and we were hyped off our minds, man.
Good people, good times, and
people were lovely.
Yeah, like the venue was phenomenal. We played in an art gallery, the Millennium Art Gallery, You know, it's strange. I know we spoke about it in the podcast we did last time, and you know, it mentioned it was going to be a gallery and it was going to be strange, but didn't really it's quite a big festival, and there's a lot. I was surprised at how many people come and seen us. You know, at least good few hundred, couple hundred.
Yeah, it was the crowd was hyped, man. Like we were hyped and like so blessed.
Just went out and just give it. You know, give it your all.
Give it all.
This lad ended up spewing. No one saw. We were sweating out.
I do want to tell the world, like, but yeah.
I think someone was bleeding. Do you know what I mean? Like that's what you want. You want to put all that in because. I mean,
sweating, spewing, bleeding. When if we're doing a good job, I think.
You got to play these shows particularly like that. I mean, it was a half an hour set, and that for me that's fantastic. It's short and sweet, and in that 30 minutes you spill your fucking soul out there. And you give it all you got, and the response that we got from that was really positive, and you know, we're blessed. There's a guy who just who worked at a record label called War Records. He worked doing artwork for an artist called
Graphic Design. He's designed some like Aphex Twin
records and stuff like that, and quite sounds like really. I mean, good fellow in that. Like he's got his. He's got a few good things under his belt and that, and he took a picture of us. He's just like saying, "Wow, like seeing demons."
Enough energy for all the Sheffield.
Enough energy for all the Sheffields.
And that's like so fucking
blessed.
Just must have been doing something right, man. I mean, like, so yeah, that was really dope, man. And yeah, I mean, we've had a few gigs this year, and just every single one, just play every single show like it's your last fucking show. And that way, you can at least be like, well, I give it my all, man. Whatever comes of it, at least I fucking gave it my all in this fucking moment. And that's just how. I mean, you've seen us a number of times. I don't know how many times you must have seen us now, like 10, at least 10 times, something like that. And you've seen us in so many, you know, with a full band,
different locations, different setup,
different locations, and that. And like it's interesting, like mixing it up and having different elements and always keeping it fresh. But every single show, it's like heart on your sleeve sort of shit, man.
Oh man, that's one of the things.
Yeah.
No, I was just going to say, man. I was just going to say, man. That's one of the things I love about watching you guys live, because you just said then, you never know from one show to the next what you're going to get. I think it's kind of always keeps that. I don't kind of, you know, I'm sure if I went out on a, you know, and saw every single one of your shows over maybe a month, I would get 31 different shows. I mean, that's what I love about you guys. You know what I mean? Particularly when you're going, you know, playing live. Now, again, I mean, it was something that the film, and I know I saw you. You know, obviously people know that you dropped Even If, and then you also dropped, you know, sort of remaking, visual of Heartstrings. Now, that was filmed at Tramline. Was that filmed before you played live or after you played live?
That was the day after, actually. That was on the Sunday. So we played on Saturday night. I think our set was about 9 o'clock. Did half an hour. There was just 4 bands in that venue all day. It was a really great lineup. A band called Eris that were on after us, amazing. And a band called Portico, which was really dope as well. But yeah, so we just stayed about there all night and kind of had this lined up, this live session in a shop, like a clothes shop slash barbers.
It was like a vintage clothes shop slash barbers sort of thing.
12 o'clock the following day, and to be fair, we didn't know we didn't know how it would be.
Like, it was still a bit ropey. We had to have a bit of a hair and a dog just to take the edge off.
We might have all still in our blood a little bit, but yeah, man, we just did those 2 tracks, and
it was good to play. Sorry, I was just going to say it was quite good to play Heartstrings, because
we hadn't even practiced that in rehearsal. That's what I was going to say. Like, I think we had one blast of it, like when we were trying to film it. I fucked up a lyric or something like that. So we did it again, and yeah, just basically straight up. And
we haven't practiced that one for a few weeks, like you were saying, and we didn't play that one on the set on the night at the Millennium Gallery. So
just thought it'd be nice to do.
It's always seemed like quite a popular song, really. Like looking at some statistics and analytics and all that sort of stuff that you get online. Heartstrings has always been one which has sort of been quite popular, and you know, even more so than some of our popular songs like Lord Must Be Strong and If He Steps Move Me Up. Some of the statistics I've got, it shows that it seems a bit more popular than them ones.
It's a very emotive song.
It's an emotive song, and it could have been a single, and it probably should have been, but you know, we decided not to do that, and you know, it's a bit of a hidden gem, I suppose, and just to have done a little live video, I think that's pretty cool, because there's nothing. I don't think there's anything really on YouTube or SoundCloud.
Might have been a live video and someone's.
There might have been something kicking about, but just to do a proper live video for it, I thought it was just quite a nice gesture and that, you know.
Will said as well that made a couple of women cry in the shop when we were doing it.
Back of the neck.
Dan's really chuffed about that.
If I'm making old women cry, like I'm doing something right, mate. Like, you know what I mean?
We got the emotion across. They felt it.
Man,
I don't know if I should feel bad, to be honest, mate. Going to the shop on Sunday, the day of rest.
No, it's good, man. To make somebody feel something, spoken emotion. Like that's fucking art.
Yeah, man, that's art, that, like. Yeah, for
real. Right on. But yeah, I mean, after Tramlines, there was Richmond Live, which we did as well, man, and that was a good one. You know, we're playing on to our home crowd. There was fucking quite a lot of people there. It was a Friday night. We were playing before Funeral for a Friend. You know, it was fucking weird, but like it was cool, man. Like it was cool. We used it as a bit of a test ground, really, to just play a few new songs that we've been working on. You know, we didn't stick to too much of the standard sort of set that we tend to do, just because we probably played in Richmond more times than anywhere else, obviously being based there. So just thought it was nice to just. It's a nice opportunity to test the water for some new tracks to your home cats and that, you know.
I mean, mate, go back to go on.
Sorry.
No, go on.
I was going to say, and Will that night was absolutely shit hot with his bass and that.
On fucking fire,
he looked like some sort of bass lord or some
double
shit.
bass demon lord.
We had our mate Claire, who you met.
Who joined us at that poetry tent down the road.
Yeah, she came on with Demon Mask playing a trumpet for the first song, which looked pretty cool. And then we had our mate Sam Reed playing some Lord Must Be Strong now, and he got a
Tate was about it, right?
Yeah, Tate was about doing some trippy stuff as well, and like there was Sam got on the bass drum, the Demon Rose that we used for Even If, he got that printed out onto a bass drum, so it looked like proper like a band stuff and that, you know, it just looked really good.
Looked like a real band.
We just for a change, for once we looked like an actual band, like, you know what I mean? That was quite cool. Sometimes feeling like a rock star for a night. Then you go sky high. Nah, I'm kidding about that last bit, like.
No, but
that was good, man.
No, I mean, we've often, you know, I know we discussed it, you know, many times, man. I would love to see you, you know, when you do get to, you know, which you will get to, when you're going to get to play, you know, a kind of venue like Richmond Live on a regular basis. I'd love to see your stage show, because I think, man, if you could let Tate loose with some of the, you know, what your music's about and some of the imagery stuff, man, it would be, man, you would be wicked live, man. You know what I mean? I can see it now. I've seen glimpses of it when I was at the Richmond Live last year and stuff, and you know, I'd love to see you on a, you know, big sort of venue do that, man. You know what I mean?
I had a fucking sword last year, mate. Like, do you know what I mean? What the fuck? It was awesome.
Well, man,
yeah,
the other thing I was going to say, man, I can't let it pass, because you mentioned you would do, you know, you did the videos for both, you know, Heartstrings and Even If, and you did them on a Sunday morning. It must be really, you kind of brushed aside it. And I have to sort of ask, really, but that must be really, really strange playing such a song like that first thing in the morning, because as you know, we're all kind of night owls, so to even be up at that time in the morning, but let alone trying to get yourself into a motive kind of ahead. I mean, it must have been quite strange in an essence, because you're not playing it at night time and stuff like that, so you kind of brushed upon it, but how did you sort of get yourself into that frame mind? Did you have to listen to the song a few times, or you just think, well, fuck it, I'm going out and I'm just going to do it?
I think me and Dan really just have like an on and off switch. You know, when it's on, like you're just prepared for it. Like
still hyped from the night
still hyped,
before.
Still kind of probably half cut.
Still a bit half cut, bit hungover, a bit ropey. Get a hair of the dog down here. Think them 2 magic words, which are fuck it. And then you're just there, just running through it and that. The next thing you know, that's it. Just his clip thing, and that's it. Like that's a wrap, but it's just how it sounds.
But that's it. Like I mean, you can, take a step out of the bubble, so to speak, and just be like, I'm in the middle of a shop on a Sunday. Some lad's getting his mop chopped just over my shoulder. There's a handful of people just walking about. I'll try to do some shopping.
I've got
a couple of lasses at the counter.
I've got to the John Smith.
I could ask them
if I could open it. They're probably going to say no anyway. Then no one's going to say out. So I'll do that.
So yeah, like Dan says, just those 2 magic words, fuck it, and like just always have to be kind of prepared for expect the unexpected, man, and just roll with the punches when they occur.
I think we did even if first, didn't we?
Yeah, we did that.
We did even if, and I think we just did it in 1 take.
Yeah,
I think that was just a 1 take wonder, and then Heartstrings. We tried, but like we said, we hadn't practiced it for a while.
Messed up on the lyrics halfway through.
So that took 2 takes, but
yeah, it was quite quick.
It was pretty swift, yeah. Pretty swift.
I mean, yeah,
and they really sound
really nice lads. Really sound.
We sort of got that opportunity from like there's a little blog based in Sheffield called Backseat Mafia, and we've sent him some of our music before, and I think he's done a bit of.
He featured us actually for one to watch at Tramline.
Yeah,
he did an article.
That's right. Yeah, he's given us a fair bit of love and that, and he's just started working with this studio called Make Noise Studio, and they're Sheffield based as well, and yeah, they were just sort of like working together and just filming quite a few acts over the weekend. There's a few other decent bands who they filmed and stuff. And
a lot of it was like acoustic stuff and that as well.
Yeah, a lot of it was guitar sort of stuff. So
I think it might have been quite nice for us to rack up as well, just something a bit different. You know what I mean? Like, but yeah, I was really happy with how that came out.
And all them lads got some dead canny and that.
Got some great footage and that. So yeah, dead chuffed with it.
I mean, the thing you got as well, I think you've spoken about this before, but just the physical act of putting on the mask and taking off the mask must get you into a mindset. Because I know it, and you've tapped upon this before in previous podcasts, but it is quite an emotive thing for you to do. And I know it's almost like that is almost like an acting performance. I put it on, and after that moment,
ritual, man.
Yeah. Well, in them videos, I mean, I'm sort of trying to use the mask a bit more in the performance, just like as you see in them videos that I'm putting it on and taking it off and fucking weeding about and doing the fucking scream, all that sort of shit, and it's just trying to just it just helps to bring that imagery a bit more to life, and I think it's something that I'm trying to utilise a bit more because I think it's quite captivating for the audience, and like you say, it's got that emotiveness off take, and it's just sort of like just
the act of it, like the ritual.
The ritual element to it. I think if people can sort of relate to that, and
it is like I'm sure we said before, it's kind of a theatrical thing, as well. And just that idea that everybody wears fucking masks, and just the kind of like removal of that, to then to do the music that we do or say the things we say, it's all very emotive. So just that whole act of removing that and just being as fucking real as you can possibly be,
Well, you're taking it into performance art, which I think you guys have been doing since the beginning, kind of, especially with I think it was Will who was running around as the demon, and you slayed the demon live on stage. Was that
Yeah,
Will?
yeah. No, that was Tate. Yeah, that
Oh,
happened
okay.
at Richmond Live last year. Yeah, that's what I meant. Like, I had a fucking sword, man. What the fuck?
Yeah,
Yeah, it's
I mean, all that sort of performance stuff adds to just the experience of, what Tim was saying about how, you're going to do 31 shows, you're going to do 31 different shows, and that's just kind of it, is, throwing all these just sort of performance art pieces into the music, and so it becomes more alive and all encompassing for the crowd, and they just kind of feel, it's not something that, even if they really like the music, they're not going to want to just like put their head down, which I'm sure you've seen plenty of concert videos where somebody has their eyes closed and their head down and they're just kind of going with the music, and like that's cool and all, but that's, to actually like be able to open your eyes and see like something that's not just for people kind of standing around or people just kind of doing the whole concert thing. There's a lot of things that can be done on stage. I mean, it's on stage. You are at the center of the stage, so you do have that freedom to sort of play with that idea of theater and theatrics, and obviously rock concerts and pop concerts have gone the sort of cliche route almost every time with, oh, we can do a laser light show. Like, well, it's awesome and all, but my screensaver does that. And they have backup dancers and they have pyrotechnics, and it's just like, this, like, I can't think of the last good theater piece that I saw that had backup dancers and pyrotechnics and like people just shaking their asses. Like, it really doesn't. I don't know. To me, it really doesn't do anything to the music. It really just kind of, I don't know. It seems out of place, but I don't know. It's the sparkly things that keep people occupied. But
yeah, for real, man. I mean, it's a ride, you know. Watching a band live, it's a fucking ride, and I think, I haven't watched so much live music, man. Very passionate about that, really, and just watching, certain things that certain acts would do, which were captivating or challenged you, or, like that shit's always kind of fascinated me. And the whole idea as well, like with it being a ride, so the dynamics of a show, so from bringing it up to taking it down, doing like some spoken stuff in there. You could do, whatever, like bring someone on to play some trumpet, get some dude dressed as death trying to fucking kill you. You know what I mean? Whatever the fuck, man. Like, you know what I mean? It's just good to collaborate, and it's just good to be challenging but engaging, and ride that wave as well, man. You don't want to do half an hour just the same thing on loop. You have to try and make it interesting. On that point, I'm gonna go and get a beer. 2 minutes, boys.
No, man, I kind of, as you know, I love playing with the imagery of that moment. I think one of the most powerful things I've ever seen in any concert, in any gig, and this is speaking from proper. I've seen, man, I've been lucky enough to see, we talk about pyrotechnics and stuff like that. I mean, some of my favourite shows have been, seeing like Iron Maiden back in early days when they were just having, blood pouring out of Eddie's head or,
Yeah.
that kind of stuff. But
Yeah,
man,
man, earlier this year, that's pretty mental.
man, one of the most powerful things I think of all the gigs I've ever been to, and I don't think there's any, I don't think it's impossible to capture, is that moment when you two come on stage with both your masks on and you both clatter each other, and you're like two rutting stags with each other, and you play that for about 30 seconds, and man,
Yeah.
I've seen some times, and you do it for every show, and every show it's always there's always something there, and I've seen sometimes when I mean, man, that one at Christmas, well, things happened last year. I mean, the gig we had in Richmond last year, and the fire there, man. I mean,
Yeah, that was funny. That like me.
but what I'm trying to say is that moment that you're doing. That's why I love to capture that in art. I've love to, as you know, I love to be inspired by your tunes, and it's one of the things I love to watch when you're live. And I love to watch that very early beginning bit when you both got your masks on, and then you take your mask off, and then it's like you say, it's show go. But I mean, I'm trying to really kind of get my head around with you. You know, when you're in that, do you actually, because you're behind that mask, do you actually feel it actually does take you to another state of mind, or?
That's an interesting one, Tim. I think. Well, I tell you what. I don't think you don't think. You just do. You just do. Maybe that is enough for fucking state of mind. Maybe it is, but you don't really think. You just sort of do, and you just sort of vibe it, and that's just a sort of, you know, that's the chemistry sort of bubbling up. There's nothing script. We don't script anything, but when we come on stage, me and Si, it tends to just be trying to just like psych each other up, so that's why we'll just fucking jostle about.
Sometimes he'll hit me.
Sometimes I'll hit him or whatever, or sometimes, you know what I mean, you go about it in different ways, but yeah, them sort of moments, you know, that's something that, you know, you're not thinking about, you're just doing. So, mate, I don't know if that's like, if you're consciously, you know what I mean, a bit more switched on than what you are when you're trying to calculate what you're doing. I don't know. I can't really answer that, but I know what you.
Unwritten, man.
I know what you're implying, and that's just like, yeah. There's like an air of uncertainty and perhaps a bit of excitement because you don't know what the fuck's gonna happen. Yeah, I mean, maybe these two lads are just gonna fucking start praying each other, and then that's it. Gig's over. Fucking halfway into the first song. Maybe, you know, they're gonna jump in the crowd and fucking whatever. Maybe one of them's gonna trip over the keyboard. You know what I mean? What that sort of on edge sort of vibe. I think it's sort of it's just a bit alluring than that, isn't it? And I guess that it's the music. It's your first song when you come on. It's you don't know what the fuck the reaction's going to be like. You don't know if people are going to be feeling it. You can't really see too much. If you've got the mask on, so you just got to vibe it, and you know, it's just sort of like energy, I suppose, and it's interesting to see how that goes down. Like it's cool to get your feedback that like you find that very sort of powerful, really, and you know it's just a moment, man, and maybe because it's just a moment and it's without the thought that it's honest. Maybe it's the honesty which speaks to people. I don't know.
Well, but perfect way I would say this was when I very first saw you at the very first Unity gig is that, you know, there you all were. You could have been anybody in that. It's a perfect example. The very first time I saw you, there you all were. You could have been any bunch of lads. You could have been, you know. But I saw you walk off and you put the masks on, and then, like you said, out came the performance. But the point I'm trying to really get to is that you're not walking around the houses, you know, everyday life wearing that mask. You don't wear it all through the show. It's just like you're putting on for a very moment. So in that moment when you've got the mask on, there must be thoughts, even subconsciously in your mind, because it's not something you're doing all the time. You're not like going, for instance, you're not being like, I've seen bands, you know, like Gore, perfect example. They come out and they're all that, and you think, okay, that's just persona, and they're keeping it on, they're hiding behind the mask. Yours is more of you're putting it on and taking it off. So it's a very powerful moment because, like I said, you're not walking around, you know, drinking cups of tea, walking around rich and wearing your masks. So it's very, very rarely put on, and when it is, it must be.
I think you should, though.
Probably, mate.
I think you probably should as well, mate.
Well, I think, Tim, it boils down to like what like Si touched on, like that sort of ritual sort of aspect. Maybe that's something, you know, like masks have been used in rituals for, you know what I mean, thousands of years. You know,
it's very ancient. It's kind of embedded in, you know, humanity, really. Like, you know, from like many forms of entertainment to actual like rituals and celebrations and that, you know.
Well, man, that's what's always fascinating about your mask, particularly. You know, like, you know, man, you could see the same kind of very basic, you know, 2-color pattern in an Amazon tribe, man. And this is that's what I love about it. You're touching, and yet you're doing it. I mean, this is what I love particularly, is that you're taking such an old deep human experience and consciousness of what it is to wear a mask, and yet you're the band that's flying the safe network. You're doing rap music, you're pushing boundaries, and yet you're carrying a heartbeat from a really old part of culture. That's why I said to you before, man, that's why I think you really do strongly connect. It connected with me as a visual person. That's why I love drawing artwork for you, because I think it's that really connects, because you're carrying something that's deep within the psychosis and deep in our memories as human beings. Like you say, the masks, the patterns, there's something very ancient about it, but there you are, like I said, carrying the torch for all things new, and you're pushing everything new. So it's a very weird dichotomy and balance that you guys carry.
Yeah, man. Like, there's probably so much that it just shouldn't work, but I don't know. For some reason it does. And yeah, I mean, yeah, it's like you say, just the whole mask thing's a very ancient thing as well. And yeah, I mean, it's always kind of been a powerful and poignant thing of our imagery is that. So yeah, so sort of shedding off it as well. That's something that's very just very meaningful.
Yeah. Go on, Ryan. You're going to say something, right?
Who, me?
Sorry, man.
God damn, you always know when I'm going to say something. What is my giveaway?
The fact you hold the fact that you hold your mic to your face.
I'm crying, mate.
I could just be scratching the beard. You don't know what I'm doing.
Man, I know, Ryan. Man, you kind of mentioned on there. I think you kind of briefly touched upon it, but again, I don't really want to sort of skip out here, because I know we don't get a sort of chance to really catch up, recently a lot, and face to face. Man, tell us more about Breathe Easy. I mean, I'm aware of it, and like you did mention that he's trying to break world records and stuff. But what's the actual process of that? Have you all got a script that you're working towards, or do you all just do your own pieces and it's going to be wove together at the end? And is Phil going to be the one to edit it all at the end? I mean, how does this process work?
Paul.
Okay.
Not Phil, Paul. No, basically, yeah, Paul just put out something on Twitter. I think I follow him, but it's so hard to, Twitter's not like Facebook, so it's not like things stay up for a long time. Basically, if somebody posts something, it could disappear quickly. So, I can't remember. I think he contacted me and sent me the sort of manifesto for it, and basically it was, I think it was maybe 1 or 2 pages long, and it basically just said like, hey, I have this idea where we're going to get all these people from different countries and all these directors, and we're going to film something to try and break 2 world records. The plot of it is these sort of weird apocalyptic clouds sort of take over. Well, maybe not take over, but they basically just show up out of nowhere, and they're just kind of looming in the sky, and they just kind of hang out there. And I think for the most part, that was literally like all he had as far as the plot went. And so it was just kind of this idea of, yeah, this is probably like a film school teaching trick too, where basically you just give out some sort of plot like that, and then you just say make whatever you want with it, and you just see how different cultures are going to react to it, and what they're going to write about, and how they're going to do their part, and it's sort of like playing on the piano and recording 2 different solos of people playing at the same tempo, and they're playing the same key, but that's all you tell them to do, is you're like, here's like play the blues scale at 80 beats per minute, and then you record one person doing it, you record the second person doing it, and 90% of the time you layer them on top of each other, and it makes complete sense. And it's just like, wow, how does that even work? And that's just the whole I guess the whole mathematics behind it. So somehow and I have perfect faith in him. I mean, when I read it, I was like, oh yeah, that seems like seems pretty goddamn simple and easy and straight to the point. I don't see how as a movie it could fail unless people start going in and unless there's like continuity errors. And so that was one of the things that I would talk to him about. And I'm like, do we see these clouds? Is am I gonna have to worry about putting special effects in there? Blah blah blah. I think he said like you can do whatever you want, but I didn't want to like add details into the plot that had anything that was like wrong or that would possibly fuck up somebody else's script. So yeah, he just contacted me and was like, hey, would you want to be a part of this? And obviously I'm sure it's probably easier for him to find a director in the U.S. than anywhere in the world, but he's got a couple from the U.S. I know. He's got somebody filming at Stonehenge, somebody in I think it's like Norway, Holland, Kenya, South Africa, Canada, Ireland, a few other places. But he's still pushing, still going for it, still trying to find directors from all over the world. And if I know anything about Paul, he's gonna do it because that's what he does. He says he's gonna do something and kind of sounds crazy, and then he goes out and he fucking does it.
I think it's a brilliant idea, mate.
I thought so too. Just of the idea of something shows up, we don't know what the hell it is, and nothing can really be done about it. And every day you wake up and there it is. You wake up, you look out the window, there it is. Like you don't know what's gonna happen. You're just kind of staring at it like, do I still have to work tomorrow? What the hell's going on?
Yeah, and that's as well. And having all these like different shots from different parts of the world,
different interpretations.
Yeah, different interpretations of it. Yeah, I love the idea of it.
Sorry, man. I was just about to say, kind of like basically, like we've already got that, haven't we? Kim Kardashian's ass. Isn't that the big distraction? Everyone spends every day just looking at and stressing about. We don't know where it came from or where it will ever leave.
Yeah, I guess. And people still like anytime there's a Kardashian article or something, there's the first 10 to 100 comments are always like, I hate these people. Why are these people even popular? I can't believe this is news. Blah, blah, blah. It's like, yeah, well, you fucking clicked on it, didn't you?
Exactly, man.
Like, I'm not going to go on there and bitch about it because I know they're stupid. I know that the people reading it know they're stupid, and it's, like, pointless and it's not news. And, like, yeah, sometimes I do add to those clicks, but then, to go down and see all these people bitching about it, it's like, okay, well, if you're going to fuck around and be stupid, at least fuck around and know that you're being stupid. Like, don't think that the people at Yahoo are actually going on and reading your comments. They don't look at that. They look at numbers, and it's like, well, this is how many people looked at it. This is how many people commented on it. Like, oh, lots of people commented on it. Well, we should put out some more and get some more comments. Like, it's like, oh, okay, now they do like news articles about like Instagram posts, and it's like, ugh, like when did that become a thing?
Well, it goes back to what Dan was tapping into earlier on, man. It's distractions. That's all it's about, man. Because if everyone's, like you said, distracted by that, then they're not thinking about, the fact that bombs are dropping on human beings and blowing them, just families to life. I know it's dark, man, but that's the truth, isn't it?
It's like dilute you with all these distractions. It's like that thing about all that shit about Cameron and some pig or some shit like that. That's a fucking distraction, man.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? There's all these fucking refugee problems. There's all this fucking, other various things happening in the world. Wars in Syria, all this shit, and they'd rather blew up a major shitstorm about a load of fucking horse shit, isn't it? Like, you know what I mean? Like,
refugees flooding, borders and stuff like that, and it's like, oh, the Dave Cameron put his balls in a pig's mouth.
Yeah.
Well, man.
It's a fucked up world, man.
Well, you know perfectly that everything's distractions, because if you want the honest truth, why is it left to people like me to fly the flag for basically a piece of technology that's going to connect all the human beings and move us on to the next level? Why is that left to me? This should be on every news channel everywhere and saying, do you know what, they've invented the new internet? But no, it's left to people like me to sit here in Scotland, on a podcast that, That's when you know that the world's full of distractions, because if they actually give a shit about human beings, they would be telling all of us like this, and it shouldn't be just left to me, because, man, it's like I said to you earlier on, Dan. You know, it's like hearing about the event in the printing press, and then not hearing about it anywhere. And you think, why am I hearing this from people, you know, stuck on, you know, weird little podcasts and fanzines and stuff? This should be on the news everywhere all the time. But hey, distractions, man, and that's when you know what it's all about, distractions.
Yeah.
Well, you need to put your balls in a pig's mouth, and then we'll get some press.
Mate, I don't even think me putting my balls in a pig's mouth will get me press, mate.
Well, maybe you're just gonna have to do something to a celebrity or to somebody that's like well known. I don't know. You're just gonna have to like show up, get as close as you can to them, and then just like do something, like put your balls in a pig's mouth or something. Like if the Pope visits, like get as close as you can, and then just grab a pig and put your balls in its mouth and get a selfie with the Pope, and you'll probably get popular. I'm sure you'll get a couple Twitter parody accounts that are named after you. There'll be a bunch of memes with your face on it.
Well, man, again, I don't want to sort of go down a dark avenue, but it did make me laugh last week when you saw the Pope. You know, there he was in Congress. You had people crying, everyone clapping him, and you think, man, at the heart, and I'm not, you know, at the heart of this religion, and hey, anyone can believe what they want to believe. That's up to them. I don't give a shit. But you think this is a whole kind of mindset of a, you know, religion that pumps out basically that you go take to communion where you are symbolically eating somebody's flesh and drinking their blood. And everybody in the Congress is applauding that. And I thought, if you're an alien and you try to explain all this, and you said, right, these guys over here, the reason he's important because he organises these sort of people who once a week go and basically symbolically eat some flesh and take some blood, and these guys over here are basically the guys who run the country, man, it would make complete nonsense. And yet, you know, it's been the biggest news story in the last week is about, you know, what's his name, Boehner crying, and they're all. And you think, wow, man, you know, America's supposedly meant to be the most secular country in the world, but they're all there crying and applauding some guy who basically is God's representation on Earth, which is a bit weird.
It's fucked up, mate. It's fucked up. When you spill it like that, when you paint it in that light, you know what I mean? Yeah, it's fucking twisted, man, and mate, fucking. All it is a cult which got out of hand.
Well, it is, man. And you know, that's what I'm saying. It's a really weird cult when you actually look at it, because it's a cult, like I said, that its two main rituals are basically eating flesh and drinking blood. That's a very dark thing, man, when you actually think about it.
Mm.
Well, yeah, and circumcision.
Exactly.
Exactly, don't forget the penis mutilation if we're going to talk about we're going to talk about religious rituals. Let's not forget the penis mutilation.
Well, man, the reason I say that, and I mean, again, it's because I was just, you know, he's coming on the podcast tomorrow night, but I've got a guy from Argentina coming on tomorrow night, and it's always kind of struck me how, you know, particularly any government or any country you're in, they always try to make out they're the most progressive this, and they're doing this, that, and the other. And then when any religious comes on, they all go weepy. And yet it's been the Catholic Church. No, I'm not particularly picking on Catholics, but it's something I know particularly a lot about. But you know, the Catholic Church is like in Argentina, they were responsible and went hand in hand with every dictatorship, every military dictatorship, and yet these people are still pawned upon, and and it goes back to what you were just saying then, Dan. Yet some guy, and he's got a raggedy beard and he's got a towel on his head, and women are, what he's saying is all wrong. You think, well, why is he more respected and he's not? And it's very strange, man. Very dark, like you said.
Well, it's just like the whole thing in America of like, so you're in America, speak American. It's like, the Mandarin Chinese is the most spoken language in the world, so don't get all on your high horse. And then same thing with Christians and being in America. It's like, Muslim's the biggest religion in the world, so get off your fucking high horse. Like, quit thinking. And not only that, but it's older. It's much, much older and has like such more of a rich history and rich culture compared to Christianity and other religions of the sort. But yeah, I mean, I don't know. It's just that we're number one, even though we're not, but we're still gonna trump around like we are.
No, that's the funny thing about it, Ryan, man. It always makes me laugh, and it's always the card that people pull out when they're just like, oh, this is 10,000 years old, or this is like the Christians, this is 2,000 years old. I'm like, well, yeah, that's even more reason not to believe in that bollocks, man. Because when Scientology was invented 50 years ago, people laugh at it because we know that you had a driving license and all that shit. But some guys back in the day when they were being persecuted by Romans, and women would be like, it's 2,000 years ago, man. I don't want to know what those guys didn't have computers. They weren't in spaceships looking down at us, man. Like we were talking about earlier on, Dad. They didn't understand how deep the ocean was or molecular science. So the age one has always made me laugh when people try to trump that. I'm like, well, okay, then where do we want to go back to? We want to go back to the old, back to the old desert gods and stuff like that, and pull them all out and all fall down on our knees and worship them. I mean,
what about even Zeus? Like, and there, it's like, oh, Zeus is that's just a Disney character now. We just, it's fairy tales. Now drink your blood, eat your flesh, pray, pray, pray.
Yeah, man. So I mean, again, I mean, sort of like to sort of bring this back to some sort of kind of like because I'm eager to get kind of much information about what plans you got coming up. I know you guys have got the Twisterella festival coming up, and I know you've got a gig coming up with Fold, which is for their debut album, which is another one. That's another perfect example, man. I mean, it was literally they were episode number 2, and look how much they've evolved in the last year. And particularly all three of us, because we've all got a connection in some ways to Fold and what obviously follow the lights and stuff. So again, tell us about the Twisterella gig and the Fold gig, man.
Yeah, man. Well, the Twisterella one's quite a good one for us to get on. It's a local tour, it's relatively local to us anyway. It's in Middlesbrough on the 10th of October, and it's a lot of just emerging artists, new bands and that have been, a lot of them have been killing it, got singles out or radio support from Radio 1.
It's great. It looks like a great little festival for new music and stuff. Yeah, we're really blessed to be on it. There's a few good acts which look on it. There's a guy called Kingsley Chapman and The Murder, who I've seen up at Sunderland before.
All Us on Drugs.
Really good All Us on Drugs, which are Leeds band.
The Blondes, who used to go by the name Beth Jean Horton, who Pip Maltjoy, who's on Joel's side. She supported her a couple of years back and that. It's all kind of like emerging sort of stuff.
A lot of it's quite local as well to the sort of northeast area, which I think is pretty good. But I mean, there's more national acts on the bill as well. So,
but yeah, the crack there, right? Because we did a gig with the promoters. We played with an alternative hip hop band from Scotland called Stanley Odd in June, and and we just left a really good impression. I saw there was a bit of a gap on the bill because the band had pulled out, so I just sent them an email. Tom Robinson had been chatting a lot about us and that, and that's Stanley Odd we supported.
Nice,
they played it last year. The Scottish hip hop, man, really good. Check them out if you've not already, Tim.
Yeah, man. So yeah, we kind of got a connection with the promoters through that, and just kind of banged on the door a little bit, and had been getting a lot of good press and stuff since like Tramlines and putting out Even If as well, and yeah, man. So they just asked us to do a set on like a pop-up stage. So yeah, we're playing at 8:30, I believe.
Is it 7:30 till 8?
Oh, 7:30 until 8. Yeah, at a venue called Sticky Fingers. Yeah, should be fun. I think we're like the last band on that stage, like, yeah, for the evening. So yeah, really blessed to be on that, and hopefully it'll be a good one. The Fold one, those boys have been killing it, as you know, for a while, and I'm so happy to see them get their plans laid out, man, and they've got their album down now.
Sort of just in the promotion campaign at the minute for that.
Promoting it at the moment.
They've had some good Six Music Airplay and things like that.
Yeah, man, some great exposure, and they're just I think it's their first kind of proper tour. So they've got a few dates down. They're doing Newcastle, they're doing Leeds, they're doing London, Leicester, and Wakefield. They're playing at a venue called the Hop, which we've played at a couple of times.
Earlier this year, we
supported Sleaford Mods earlier this year down there, and that was a fucking amazing gig, sold out. And yeah, just great crowd. There's good people down there, man. So yeah, we just kind of reached out about the Wakefield gig and that, and yeah, we're on the support for that. So you know, it's always good playing, sharing a stage with those boys, man. Really feeling what they're doing, and I just can't wait to hear their album as well. I believe it's out in
November, is it?
October,
October,
I believe.
November.
Yeah, November.
Maybe early November.
I think it's early November, isn't it?
But yeah, they got a load of horns and that down for it now, which I just can't wait to listen to it. And yeah, man, those boys got my love, man. Really love and respect what they do. So other than that, we've got we've been asked to do the Ox Jam Darlow again. We did that last year in Darlington. So that's the 25th of October. We're just waiting for them to confirm it. Basically, confirm the lineup and that. But yeah, so that's going down. And I'm looking at trying to do a gig around Christmas in Richmond for Calm. Thinking around maybe Mad Friday, maybe a bit more closer to Christmas, 23rd or something like that. Just because it's an important thing for us to be flying that flag as much as we can.
Particularly over that time of the year,
yeah,
it can be quite an intense, heavy time of year for a lot of people. It's quite a dark time as much as it is a.
This is a peak time,
warm
for
time
for suicide. You know what I mean? It's
very.
You can only imagine how you can be torn if you're a bit down in your luck at that time. So bringing awareness and
Togetherness,
bringing people together. We need to get the ball rolling a bit for it, but yeah, we're hoping to get that down as well.
Well, man,
and we've also got a gig in Leeds as well on the 27th of November, which I believe is a Friday, at a venue called the Primrose. Get yourself down, Tim.
So yeah, if you're around, mate, get yourself down.
Well, man, I think one of the things, if we're looking back at what's gone on last year, it's going to be interesting to see what's going to go on next year, because I know we've spoken about it offline a few times, but there's so much bands and groups and people out there who want to collaborate with you, who want to play live with you, who want to do stuff with you and stuff. So it's going to fascinate me to see where this next year takes us. So when we're here this time next year, if we're all here, God bless, or God willing, or whatever you want to, Allah willing, or whatever you want to praise your higher power or not. But because like I say, there's some great bands out there, and I know that want to collaborate with you, and we've mentioned this before, and I know we don't get to talk about it a lot, but it's going to be interesting because, like I say, but hopefully by this time, I know you mentioned you're hoping to drop a couple more tunes and tracks and stuff. I mean, what you're hoping to maybe put follow up to Dual Sides out early next year somewhere? Is that the plan?
Yeah, I mean, we're kind of always fucking working, man, on music and that, and just getting something down that we're kind of happy to kind of put out. We've got a few different things going on at the moment, a few different projects, a few different beats and stuff like that. But yeah, we've been working on, got a blueprint down of something that we're kind of aiming to get out. I mean, I'd love to get it out sooner, but truth is it needs some work, and we want to be as professional as we can be with the presentation of this, and so nothing's set in stone, man. Nothing's set in stone. But I'd like to get another single out before the end of the year, and some visuals, and get just get it rolling for more of a long, either an EP or an LP or long play. It'll be a body of work, and yeah, it's been a while. So yeah, just kind of working on that really.
Well, man, you mentioned you've been working with Jonathan Swift, who for people who don't know, he's from outside the house. How's that experience? How have you found that?
Oh, massive love, man. Johnny's the boy, man.
That's his label. No, yeah, there's his label, man. He's made a little cassette tape record label called Frux Tapes.
Frux Tapes, man.
Yeah, great guy to work with, you know, man. Like he's got, you know, a lot of experience. He's done music for years, man. He's a Bristol boy originally, and then he's been around to London. He's lived there for a bit, worked in studios, been over to America. You know, he's just found himself up in the northeast of England, and you know, it's a real good blessing to find him because he's got a really interesting ear for music, man. He likes to experiment, and you know, he likes to fuck about with shit and you know,
challenge it.
It's quite challenging.
Ever since we heard like Outside Your House, like I was always very fascinated with their production because
the lyrics are great. So
Tim's so charismatic and like such a
delivery
good
and his flow is really good.
But yeah, I mean Johnny as well, man, just very captivating beats. I always thought so. Yeah, I mean we've been working on a few tunes with him.
Yeah, he's definitely got like an ear for things, and like I said, I've always sort of experienced working on a few things with him. The sort of sound that sort of seeps out to me. Like I say, he's originally a Bristol lad, so he's got that fucking trip hop fucking vibe somewhere in his blood, man. He's got that gene pumping around his blood somehow. So been working on a couple of things with him, and it's got that sort of vibe to it, man. And it's just interesting doing something a bit different like that. So hopefully some of that stuff will see the light of day at some point.
Yeah, soon. We got to work on that now. So I mean that's it. So we got a couple of projects on mind. So you just have to get the kind of plan down as to what you're putting out when, and give yourself enough time to obviously promote it as well, because that's a very big part of trying to get it out to as many people as possible. So you put a lot of time into that. But yeah, man, like it's what we're making with Johnny is something, to me, it's really, really different. So it'd be great to get some of that stuff out and see what people think. It might be a bit challenging for some people, but yeah, it'd be great to get people's thoughts and shit like that. And hopefully we'll put it out on Frux Tapes as well. So get a cassette put out.
Now, when you guys promote the Ceiling Demons, how much goes into that? Do you pay to do any of that? Do you do it all yourselves? Do you use social media? Tell us the route that you would take.
Yeah, man, a lot of hours, man. Like I suppose putting in the promotion is fucking a lot of work, really.
You have to put. Like we do it all ourselves. It's all DIY. So
it'd be great. A lot of bands, they have fucking like PR companies and shit,
management,
shit
something. Like do it for us, like
DIY.
Yeah, it's DIY. It's not the whole thing from the project. Anyway, I mean, like we were saying before, I mean, I guess what we're doing on paper, maybe it shouldn't work, but we make it work. We put in the time and the graft into the craft,
and even the money as well, man. Like you put the fucking Facebook post. The settings on Facebook's bollocks, to be honest. Like,
yeah,
if people like your page, they don't always see your posts and shit like that. So I just jack a little bit of money into that, just so it's gonna fucking reach people and that, man. Which is bollocks and that, but.
You invest your time, you invest your money, you invest your soul, your heart, everything,
all that shit,
all or nothing, isn't it, man?
But if it connects to people and it fucking affects people and fucking however it is kind of consumed or perceived, it's just the more people which you can affect with your art, the better.
As an artist, that's a touching thing, and
it's a touching thing. But like you doing the music, we spoke to a few. We've had a lot of good advice before from some good DJs and our managers and various people who've been in the industry have given us some advice which we really value. And it's often when you're putting out a release, it's good to give yourself 6-8 weeks before it drops to promote it. And during that 6-8 week period, so say you've got a single, like what we did with Even If, you make a press release about that single, a bit of a story behind it, a bit of information about the band, some pictures. Make that as like an email press release, and then send that to as many websites, journalists, things which can help promote you, and which might feel that. You send that to as many people as possible, but you don't just like make it a mail shot, like get loads of email addresses somehow and just fucking send it all down generic same bullshit.
You do
your research and you're looking at each person personally, and this is what takes the fucking time, mate. Because you're looking at people sort of a bit more personal, and then you compose a message towards them because you've taken the time to fucking do your research. So in hope that they will take the time to read that and then get back to you. It doesn't always happen, but when it does, it's fucking good and it helps push things forward. But that sort of thing, man, it takes fucking a lot of time.
a lot of effort and energy, man.
A lot of effort and a lot of energy, but yeah, you say, so if you're doing a song, a single, like Even If, found the website to premiere it, to like sort of play it first sort of thing, like we had the Tramlines website, which was a festival we played at, which was a good one, and that was a good one to sort of set the ball rolling. Hopefully, it would reach out to a lot of the audience that they have, and then from there, like, right, I'll put the song on SoundCloud or something like, or Bandcamp or whatever, as like as a stream or whatever. Like, it'll be streaming here, and then, but it's going to actually be released, and it'll be on Spotify and iTunes and all that, whatever. 6 weeks from that, or 8 weeks from that, or as much. The more time, the better, because you've got that period of time to really try and push it out to as many sort of media outlets or blogs or sites or just people like your fellow musician or your mates or whatever. The more sort of hype and momentum you can get, then you hope that that's going to take you to that next stage where, oh, this site might pick us up, and oh, maybe this DJ's going to hear it, or whatever. And it is literally every step, but the amount of time that you have to put into it, it's literally like fucking like a marketing job. Do you know what I mean? Sometimes to get your music out there, and I'm not saying that that's for everyone, because I know it's not, because at the end of the day, you're a creative. You just want to get your fucking music out there and just fucking like, I'm just going to create. And this is why a lot of artists in the in the industry on like major labels, shit like that,
they don't even understand.
Don't have a fucking. They might have got signed really early, or they've got a deal from knowing someone, or whatever the
They
crack
don't know
is.
the graph.
They don't know the graph which goes behind it, so they can take a lot of things for granted. So people are reaching out to these big artists and just like, oh, you know, this affected me, and people just fucking not even reading that shit and that, and they're just so detached from the reality of it. Whereas, you know, for us doing all this sort of stuff independently and DIY, you really do sort of learn how the industry works, but you come to appreciate, you know, how people do pick up on it and do start to follow or do start to you know, want to be a part of something, or that they fucking give you some good feedback, or whatever, man.
Yeah, man. But and also, having said all that as well, like that kind of being a blueprint as such, there's no fucking rules.
Oh, there's no
rules.
There's no rules.
And with technology, it's changing all the fucking time. So you just have to have your wits about you in a way, man. But yeah, it's always good having that time to kind of build on a release to get it out there. You know, it's very essential.
The trick to it, really, I mean, this is just like that I sort of say is like you put your song up online or whatever, and that release date, it is literally like release date. Do you know what I mean? Like you can what we do, we sync up a lot of our music to, like, we have an online publisher who publishes it to iTunes and Spotify and Deezer and all that sort of shit. And it's just a website. It's just a website. We pay a fee for it to get distributed digitally onto them services, and we'll set that to our release date and give yourself this amount of time to fucking really try and push it, get as much momentum before that date, and that's how we go about sort of doing it anyway. It's fucking.
It's a nightmare. I don't think I've tried to do it myself and dabbled with it and what have you, but yeah, I don't think the audience really understands that somebody like you is, to get your music to them, you are paying for it. You are not. It's not just we made something and we're trying to get a quick buck off of you, because you're not going to see an actual decent return until who knows how long after you put it out, because you're paying for the promotion yourself, and then even just to get it to them on something like iTunes or Spotify, you are paying for them to get it on Spotify or iTunes. And so it's a weird give and take. Like
it is, man. And you're hoping that you're going to break even. And I think you have to try and be as professional with it as you can do. And I feel like there's a lot of people, because we do it for the love, man. Like all of us that create, you do it for the love, man. And like fucking. There's a lot of love in return as well, man. It might be, you might send out, example, like 100 emails and one person gets back to you, but the one person that takes the time to listen to actually write something about that. Do you know what I mean? They're doing it for the love as well, man. So it's all that connections kind of stuff. Sort of the way the universe works, man. Like I'm like firm believer in like the law of attraction and that, So. What you put in, you should get that back. And it doesn't necessarily work, and the world works in different ways and that. But you put love into something, man, you get love back in different ways or whatever. Just as if you put negativity into things or whatever, then. Yeah, you put negativity into things and you get that bullshit back as well. You get that bullshit back as well. So that's the way I see it in that one. What's happening with the mic, Tim?
When we're speaking, at times we can hear really bad echo. So I think it's because you've got an open mic.
Yeah, it might be.
It's my message to you.
Fair enough. I love you too, man. Man, I was going to say, I think one of the interesting points you were just saying about marketing and doing all that kind of stuff, and like you say, it's all the hours that people don't never see about when you're being creative. But I think one of the great strengths, and you've shown this particularly, and you said this always, it's one of your great lines. It's all about throwing seeds and seeing how those flowers either wither or die. And word of mouth is a really strong one, man. And that's what I have to always try to sort of like, tell people like yourself. And I'm telling off, because I need it telling myself as well. It's not just that I'm trying to taste stuff that I don't try and tell myself, but what we do when we're creative has effect to people that we're never going to meet. And again, it's a perfect example, and it's a perfect this perfect example is David Irwin, man. You've never met the guy, but it's changing him and you're inspiring him, man. And this is what I'm saying. They're all just seeds sown, and you would have never known that. There'd be people that I don't know that are being inspired by you, man. I could list off countless amount of people that I know that I've never spoken to you about that have just been inspired by me and say, oh, I know you work for, I know you do some stuff with the Demons. Pass on their regards, and I always try to do, because I think we need to be hearing these things. But that's the most powerful form, I think, of anything is word of mouth. And as and I think it's kind of relevant to what we, this whole, what we're doing tonight is, man. This time last year, it was what it was. N99 was just an idea, man. And I don't want to sort of particularly going to blow my trumpet and stuff about it, because until it's released, then I'll start telling everyone. But man, every step again, we're getting closer, and this is all being built for people like yourselves, man. That's what it's being built for. There's people out there chipping hard, hacking hard away at life to give solutions to people, so we don't have to have all of the issues that you're just talking about, where you have to do all this stuff. Because, as we said, for a year now, we shouldn't be in this position where, we're creating loads and loads of stuff, and we're not getting any rewards for it. Or as Ryan was just saying, people taking their cuts. But it's the two are tied together, man. And I think the most powerful form of anything is word of mouth, because it's all about seeds being spread. And these things are only going to get easier. That's my point. And I think I really want to sort of like, and I've been told tonight, when people knew you were coming on tonight, I've had a few people from the, particularly from the forum, and saying, look, send the regards on to the twins, man, because this is what we listen to when we're coding at 4 o'clock in the morning, man. So I have to pass that on. There's a lot of love out there for you, boys.
That's such a big love, man. Yeah, big love, man. That's such a blessing, man. And I know, David, he tweeted us the other day, and it's dead happy to see, man. And really support everything that those guys are doing, and
totally
fucking man. It blows my fucking mind at times, man. But yeah, man, those guys are crafting the future, man. Do you know what I mean? And fucking, if they're listening to some of our stuff as well and feel that, man, that's such a, like you say, man, seeds fucking planted, man.
And then that one guy who bought the the AIDS drug and then jacked up the price. Did you see who he was listening to?
What was he listening, man?
He was on his Twitter account and he kept quoting people like Eminem and all these popular mainstream rappers, and it was like, this guy who's trying to get money, jacking up these prices, this is what he's listening to. Mm-hmm. And then somebody like David Irwin's rocking the Ceiling Demons.
Indie, man, keep it independent, man.
Yes, man.
Well, it's a difference, and I think it sort of really sort of plays with what we've been speaking about in the whole of this podcast. It's the mindset of some people, man. There's some people out there right now doing some real good things, but they're not highlighted, man. That's all what I'm here for. I just try to point the way and highlight the people that are doing great things in this world. But the people that are doing great things, we're all the same mindset, man. And that's what I'm saying. That doesn't surprise me at all that the people like what you're doing, or like the stuff that people, because it doesn't surprise me, because we're all like Ryan, just a perfect example. The people who are building that shit, man, they're going to listen to that stuff because they have no interest in listening to lines like, we're all going to die. They don't want to hear that, man. They've got too much time. They're too busy making money. They don't want to hear you two.
They want to hear people banging on about
what about the truth?
Exactly, man. Especially from two Yorkshire lads giving it, we're all gonna die, and we're telling you the truth, man. They don't want to hear that shit, man.
that line was very influenced by you, Tim, and your hashtag. You know that. There's a few references, Tim.
Oh mate, when I went down to that gig in Leeds, I last saw you, man. Honestly, I've never seen Dawn's face light up so much. She's like, "We're all gonna die." Usually, I was like, "Yeah, we're all gonna die." It's like, it's not my original thought. I didn't come up with the idea we're all gonna die, man.
Yeah, man. You're just spreading the word, man.
You need to copyright that, Tim, before Kanye does.
I'll copyright
Taylor Swift.
Well, I remember in last year on the podcast, I remember we were chatting about stuff, and I said there's nothing as certain in life as death. You know what I mean? So there's truth, man. Exactly, we are all going to fucking die. It's a bitter pill to swallow for some corporate cunt, isn't it?
It is, man. But
well, that was like the. What was it? Somebody posted a meme, and it was one of the few memes that I actually really liked. And it was like a picture of a cartoon dog, and it said something like, "The purpose in life is not to find meaning, but to keep your head down, do a bunch of useless nonsense, and then you're dead."
Yeah, man.
Which goes back to what I've said quite a few times about, one man enlightened is still just one man, and that's not helping the world if one person's enlightened.
Well, man, that's exactly it, and I hope the aim of what we're all trying to do in all our creative processes and what we're pushing out to the world, man. I know it'd be great. It'd be great in the next 365 days that pass, while we're spinning on this rock, and if we're still here, it'd be great, man, to think that maybe in 100, in a year's time, that 100th monkey, as they say, or would have woken up. Because that's all it is. It's a matter of numbers. It's like what I sent to you last night, Ryan. You know, sorry, you know what I was saying. It's just a balance. It's just a tip. And at the moment, the balance is one way. If we can just get that 100th monkey to wake up in the next whatever it's going to be, then it will change everything.
It's all about the balance, mate. Yeah, I totally agree with you there. Like,
You lose a lot of friends trying to wake up the monkeys.
we all just need to sit around that fire. You know what I mean? Smoke a little bit of this, eat a little bit of that, and then. Do you know what I mean? I'll read from the same hymn book, mate. Basically.
No, man. What people need to do, Si, and it's even a step back from that. The first step back they should do, and you know, they can do it every day because it's free for them. It's not going to cost you any money. Do you know what I mean? Everybody can do it. Go out at night time, as we were saying at the beginning of the podcast. Stare at the sky and realize that you're just on a rock that's just flooding through space in darkness and a vacuum that would just suck all the life out of us if we were just not in this bubble. If that's the first awakening step, you don't need to have ayahuasca or do a flotation tank and stuff like that, man. You can just take your stuff outside and look at the stars.
Yeah, man, for real, mate.
Everyone was all about the whatever moon last night. And I was just like, yeah, I saw it. It was that same moon that I see every night when I go out. Just stare off into the infinity of space, wondering when the mothership's gonna come and take me away. But it's no, I mean, once again though, it's one of those things where it's like, oh, we all gotta go out and see the moon, and it's like, you guys are fucking idiots. The moon is always there, just because it's gonna be bigger, and you know you're gonna get a hard on for it. And you're gonna pull out your phone and take a picture, and there's gonna be millions of different pictures, and they're all gonna be the same moon. And it's like, I don't know. It feels like that one thing that you do year round, and like one time a year, like everybody flocks out to it, and you're just like, like, you know, maybe you have like a favorite place that you go to and you hang out, and then one time a year, like they have a festival there, and like everybody goes to it, and they all just try to celebrate, and you're just kind of standing there like fuckers, I do this every day. And then like the times that you come to do it, like I don't even want to be here because you're just gonna leave. You're not gonna come back.
Yeah, but Ryan, wouldn't you prefer that people were at least out there staring at the moon and they were watching? You know, even if it was just one night, you know, at least they were doing it, man. I mean, it's a positive.
I don't think many people do. I don't think they do it that long though.
No.
I don't think they like. I don't think they can even do it in silence. I'm sure that like they go out there with 2 or 3 people, and like there still is not a moment of silence. It's still like talking, but they're just like pointed at the moon and looking at the moon, and occasionally bring it up, which was kind of like my segment for the movie about the clouds. Was, you know, this guy's talking on a phone, and he's constantly, you know, he'll talk about one thing, but then he leads right back into the clouds because he's looking at the clouds, or you know, the clouds are always there and looming. And same thing with the moon. You know, the people go out there and they talk about whatever, and then they kind of look up, and you know, every 5 minutes one of them goes, "Man, that's a big moon." And like, yeah, it is a big moon. Yep. And you know, I think part of it is that, you know, the silence and appreciating just appreciate how small you are. You know, I think the weight of the world can be lifted off your shoulders when you realize, like, oh fuck, I'm that small, I'm that insignificant. Oh my God, if I disappear, the world will keep turning.
Well, yeah, and then not only that, Ryan, it makes you also realise that, you know, that again how insignificant we are, but equally then how maybe every little things that we're blowing into molehills are actually insignificant in the power of things. But then it goes back to what I was saying at the beginning. We were discussing it before you came in, Ryan. We were saying, you know, it's amazing that even though we are so insignificant and we are such specks and we do get such a short period of time, the very ability, the fact that we can have the conscious experience of that and know that, and then to discuss that is such a profound thing that really, if you stopped about that and thought about that, it's almost half the battle just to realise that you are aware that you have got an existence, because the other side of the depression of life comes on, and you think, oh God, man, look what we're doing with it. But hey, I mean, at least be aware and happy that we're part of it.
Well, yeah, I think it goes with you know, a human being can, you know, the things that we experience and the way that we would try to express it would be so overwhelming and epic and just absolutely mind-blowing, but at the same time it's all you know, the closest you can get to actually experiencing how epic it is art. And through doing things in the field of art, in the field of expression, and trying to you know, because I can look at you and you can look at me, and it can just be like, you know, that's Tim, and this is Ryan, that's Cy, that's Dan. But obviously it's like, you know, the artistic persona that we all have, like, says so much more than just, like, you know, guy in a shirt with a really, really sweet beard. And but you know, it's inside of inside all of us, it is, you know, it's very powerful, it's very epic, but you know, without having something like art to express it, nobody really kind of knows, and it all seems kind of sort of bland.
Yeah, man. Well, that's what we were saying earlier on. It's you know, it's the legacies left, man, and that's exactly it. I mean, you know, what we remember, going back to what we said earlier on, what we remember from the Renaissance and back in the time is the artwork. You don't. How many people? When was the last time you read a book from the 15th century? But we remember the artwork where people go.
Which one's that? Is that like the 60s?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Is that pre-internet or post-internet?
Yeah.
Oh, I've got the Seeding Demons joining the Seeding Demons. This is it.
Uh-oh.
I don't know what's going on there.
Does that mean there's 4?
Oh. I've got... Sorry, can you hear me, man?
Sorry, mate. Fucking internet cut off and that for a moment.
Mate, don't mention it. It's just on screen right now. I've got 2 sides looking at me.
I have 2 boxes, and one of them just says ceiling, and then the other one is like literally half of Cy's face.
Yeah, like the Wicked picture.
Yeah, with the flower behind him.
I noticed then, like, you didn't get too offended when Ryan called the Yorkshire Rose a flower behind you. That means a lot to you. That means a hell of a lot to you, man. That rose means a lot to a Yorkshireman, man. Ask Ryan about what that rose means.
I said flower. I didn't say
exactly,
rose.
Man. Exactly.
Oh, that's the oh.
You what? You're calling my rose a fucking flower? Nah, mate. Like, that's exactly what it is, mate. It's a flower. Yeah, man. It's just like in Yorkshire. That's kind of the, I don't know, the logo. Would you say, Dan? How do you describe the Yorkshire rose? It's just a sign of Yorkshire. It's just generally it's emblem. It's usually, obviously ours is custom. We got a demon mask thanks to this man. Tim. This. Don't know if you can see that. Hold on. Yeah, can you see that?
It's usually blue with fucking the flower on it.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, that's cool.
So that's kind of
See,
like.
you called it a flower too, Tim.
Yeah, man. Flower and fried.
Oh, fuck, don't put me in the spot. You called it a flower too.
Flower and fried, mate.
Flower and fried or whiffer and tie.
I'm just gonna go for a quick smoke.
Mate, it doesn't bother me. I'm a Cockney, mate. It doesn't bother me. But that Yorkshire rose stuff, means a lot to Yorkshire people, man. It's all white rose, red rose shit, man. That's old school.
Nah, no hate for the water roses bullshit. Like, it's just a, yeah, I mean, just represent. It's just representing an area and that, innit? Just like a national flag or the Scottish flag. You know what I mean, you go with Scotland, they're all flying that sort of shit. all the Vote Yes campaign, all that sort of stuff, man. It's just something where you're from and that, man. Like,
No, I just think it's funny though, because Dan, I was just pointing out that, you know, because Ryan called it a flower, and we're all laughing about it. But man, there are some people, man, that get really precious about these symbols, don't they? You know what I
yeah,
mean? Really precious, man. You know what I mean?
yeah, man. There is, man, there is. And yeah, it's just people's fucking identity, innit? And like, no one knows who the fuck they are really. They just try and fucking identify with things, and you know that's why, you know, they try and make some sort of significance and importance of it, and sometimes that's deluded. But
Mm.
yeah, I mean, it is what you make of it. It is however you want to interpret it, you know.
Oh man, it's a fascinating one, and again relates sort of like, you know, year of this podcast. But just a few episodes ago, I spoke to, and he's basically got connections to Wighead. He's called Kevin, and he was from the Brian Law, man, and he was brilliant. We were discussing that very issue there, Dan, and you know, it was you know, basically sort of saying in actual fact probably we're more Celtic than we are anything else completely, really. You know, if you look at northern half of Britain, Scotland, Northern Ireland, Wales, we're all basically Celts. We're not even Anglo-Saxons. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's quite a well, man, as you know, as we know, we've got a fascination, particularly in Yorkshire, man. It always makes me laugh when you see people walking around with a Yorkshire rose and an English St George, and then they're living in a street that's like some old Danish name, or living in, you know, Heckman, you know, or some really strange village that's got an old Danish name to it or something.
Yeah.
And it's like, I'm an Englishman. And you're like, mate, look where you're living.
Yeah.
Look at your surname, man.
Yeah, yeah. No, I get that, man. Like, no, I think you know, in the sort of deep British culture, you know, that sort of Celtic sort of thing. That's, you know, that's very deep, man. That's very deep, and yeah, man. I mean, like Romans, fucking Normans, all this shit, man. The sort of the sort of true people of Britain were like the Celts and that, man, and like their sort of religions are quite fascinating, actually. Like, you know, pagans and druids and all that sort of thing, man. Like, you know, them sort of, they looked. I think it's quite interesting that they, you know, they look a lot more to the elements and the stars and things like that. Them things have a lot more value than like fucking, you know, the Christianity and all this sort of thing. Like, think where you're living in your environment, you know, you look around, you worship the sun. That ancient Egypt, man, like their gods and the way that they sort of lived their life, and that sort of civilization, you know, even there's more probably similarities to that, to how the Celts sort of lived their life than, you know, than Romans and all these other sort of cultures which come along and basically just make an empire and take over and power and fucking greed and all this sort of shit, man.
Do you know what I think it is, man? And you know, I've been kind of fortunate enough to, you know, experience this actually in a human form, but definitely you can see it on, you know, the internet at the moment. You can see this expression everywhere. Is that where what you just spoken about, even the ideas and all that, what you just mentioned, the power and all that kind of crap, that it basically comes from the more that the human is detached from natural cycles.
Yeah.
And I'm not even talking about to go and live in cavemen and all that crap. I'm not talking about that. But like we've been saying, it's kind of like a theme of the podcast so far. You know, the idea of just going out and looking at the sun, going and looking at the sky, going and seeing the weather change, as we've talked about, going out and sometimes in the middle of it when it's raining and getting pissed on and feeling it in your face. And people are detached from that, man, because they're getting in their cars, going into an air-conditioned building or a warm radiated building, getting in their cars and going home, sitting in front of the TV, and they've lost all touch. And that's when you start to lose touch, because, as you said, you go to any culture around the world, man, people are just in reverence of nature, because once you're in nature, it's not surprising you're going to worship the sun god, because it comes up every day. Without it, you're fucked.
Yeah, exactly, man. And like, yeah, I hear what you're saying, man. It can be a very superficial world at times, and yeah, man. Like, if you detach from that, then yeah, man. How better are you than a fucking lab rat in a cage, man? Do you know what I mean? Essentially, it's not living. You know what I mean? Sometimes you do have to just fucking
get back to the raw elements of what this world is, and then fucking take a look in the mirror and try and and then try and understand yourself, because you can't just keep fucking living in like a detached world. And people who do, you know what I mean, it's cool, whatever. If you're happy, you're happy. But as human beings, you sort of naturally just you kind of search for more of a meaning. And yeah, man, like the meanings and the answers, they're all around us in nature, man. Like, look at medicines and shit like that. You know what I mean? All these sort of like pharmaceutical industries and all these fucking chemicals and drugs and bullshit like that. It's like going back to like fucking, you know, tribes or whatever. Like, if you were ill for something, a certain plant would help certain symptoms, shit like that. And that's just living in nature and using it how it's there for you to use, and respecting it as well, man. I think people don't. If you're brought up in an environment where, you know, if you're in a city and stuff, you're not gonna respect like the country or countryside or nature as much as somebody who is sort of living in that sort of environment, because we are kind of all products of our environment, man, for better or for worse. But yeah, I think there's something which is soothing for the soul to be fucking on the top of a hill, getting the fucking rain and wind in your face, and like, you know what I mean, that's real, man.
Feel alive.
Feeling something, feeling alive, or sitting by that campfire or whatever the fuck, just feeling that warmth and getting mesmerised by them flames, man. Like, that's more real than fucking putting on fucking BuzzFeed and whatever's the latest Instagram fucking picture by some knobhead who you've never heard of or some shit like that. Do you know what I mean?
Exactly, man. And that's, as you know, that's one of the things that as from day one inspired me. And I hope I'm long enough to live to see how this is really going to pan out in our lifetimes, because the idea, like you just said then, spreading this campfire motif, what you just mentioned there, that is a perfect analogy, is that, man, at the moment, you know, we can all connect, people, maybe the people in America can, or if you're lucky enough to, but man, can you imagine when we can have this conversation with no middlemen, and you can have it with someone like in the Amazon jungle, and maybe through an app that can translate instantly so that we can all understand each other's, like, exactly, man, it's going to change everything, and that's what I can't wait to see. And this is why I flag this up, and that's why I talk about it more, because to me it's a simple black and white moment in us as a human civilization, because it's the ultimate connection, and with ultimate connection, I think all barriers will be dissolved. I really do think that, because I think once you can start to connect with people and see people from all different environments, and they can all connect in somewhere and just have that ability to talk, it's going to shine a light on us, and we're all going to realize, oh, actually we are just all living on a rock, and it will really, I think, will change everything, you know. And I just hope it's successful. That's why I fly the flag for it, because if not, man, it's just, as you were just saying then, Dan, we can enter into a dark world, and we know what the people who want control, whoever these people are, we know what they want to do, man. And that's, you know, and again, it's the other thing I really wanted to sort of say then, Dan, and I think it's a perfect example of this, you know. I think this whole separation from nature is what happens is we all live in houses where literally even when we shit, our defecation goes down a toilet. We don't see it. We never see the end products of our stuff. We go down to a supermarket, we unwrap the plastic, we put it in a bin. We don't see where it goes, man. And it's everything, the same thing. Even your iPhone, all your phones, you know, somewhere down that chain, there's a kid in Africa breaking a rock apart. Yeah. People, that's why the illusion's sent there, to distract you and make you consume, and you never get to see the dark end of it. But somewhere around the world, on this rock what we're talking about, somebody's living on a beach and all they've got is plastic coming in. Or right now there's a kid in Congo breaking rocks to get lithium out to put in a phone, so somebody in San Francisco can tweet about the size of Kim Kardashian's ass. You know, that's the realities of life, man. But I hope that with the more connection, we can do away with that whole mentality, and people can, that's what I'm saying, we can move everything up, so we don't have to sort of waste and resource and become more connected, because if you're more connected with the guy in the Amazon, it may think you may think twice if he's someone you know, like we're talking now, and you've got a mate down in the Amazon, his name's Pacheco or whatever, you're going to think twice and think, oh, do you know what? Maybe I shouldn't just chuck that plastic bin in, that bottle in the ocean, because that might end up destroying his environment. See, at the moment we all know that, but these people are disconnected. We hear about things in Africa and we think, oh yeah, whatever, and we become conditioned into that. But once we know people personally, it's like, oh shit, man, that's a guy I know, that's my brother in Africa who's suffering from that. And that's why I hope, and that's why I do think that the technology that's coming, the safe network and all this is going to really change the world, because I think more connections, more people see, oh, actually, I don't want to harm that person, how they direct what they do affects other people in the world, which is what you were just saying then, Dan. People haven't got awareness of now. They've got a complete detachment from what they do and how it affects the things around them. Whereas, like you were saying, people who are living in nature, like you're saying, even your grouse hunters and your farmers and people like that, they know about life, and therefore they're a bit more respectful of what they're doing.
Yeah, totally, man. Totally. Definitely, man. Yeah, I mean, big up all the coders and that are like pushing these technologies and stuff. You sent me a list of possible applications and that, and there's loads of amazing ideas there, man. And one that comes to my mind was like this Pokédex-esque app where you could go any kind of plant or rock, whatever, you scan that and you just get the information about that. Like, man, yeah, I mean, big up all these coders and that who've come up with these ideas and shit, man. Coders, you're the new fucking rock and roll. Keep fucking rocking, man. You're gonna change the fucking world, man. Like,
well, man, you say that, but that's a great thing. That's what I was trying to say. There's a huge army of people, not massive, because this being real, I was talking to some coders the other week, and I asked this very question. I said, how many do you think people actually know code language? And in the world, this is the world figure he gave me. He said there's 10,000 people in the whole world that know it. And I thought, oh man, if those people die out, we're all fucked. Do you know what I mean, man? But the point being is the age we're getting into is where it's gone from, like you're just saying then, right now it is coders, and they're the ones that are hacking away and doing all this stuff. Yeah, but the great time we're entering is where any of these, like you saw those applications, right, Si, you're just saying, you can have an idea and somebody out there will go and build it.
Yeah.
That's what's really inspiring. I mean, I haven't done one line of code for N99, but it's been built for me. It's been built with, I'm part of the process, and that's these great things. These people are building these apps, like you said. I mean, the one that really inspired me, and I saw was two, was the direct voting. Well, that would shake a few governments up. I can directly vote. Whoa, that'd change a few things. Yeah. And like you were saying again, the medical one, just having the ability to have your medical records by yourself, and like you said, so I looked at those. That's why I sent you that page. I looked at them and thought, man, those 28 apps. Those 28 apps could just reshape everything.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And I that's the thing I like to encourage people, and I want to. It's same to you two guys. I'm hopefully I'm a bit of an inspiration for this, because I've just walked this walk, and if I can do this walk, then anybody can. Have an idea. If you've got an idea, you think, do you know what, that would solve something? Then go and tell someone, because it can be built, and we're not trying to build it for money. We're not trying to build it for ego. Like you said, we're trying to build it because it's like that's a great thing to do. And that's the great thing about these days, and that's what I try to tell as many people as possible. Like, A, see what's coming, and B, realize the real potential behind that is, if you've got an idea, then just go and tell someone, and someone will build it for you, and you can change the world. That's all. Hey, if we can change the world just a tiny little millimeter, man, then that's job well done for me.
Yeah, right on, man. You're right on, Tim. Right on, man.
So that's such a profound speech. I left everyone silenced.
Just mate, honestly, yeah, you killed it right there, my man. You killed it. I hear each and every syllable coming out your mouth there, mate. Like, yeah, it's right though, man. So how's things progressing with the N99 then?
Well, man, on a bigger level, the whole network has been going through test stages at the moment. So they had a test stage two weeks ago where basically they opened it up to all the hackers in the world and said, right, come on then, come out and see if you can hack this at all. And they spent 2 weeks, everyone and nobody could touch it. They just flew through that. It's unhackable, this thing. So they're going through the next test next work. So these tests are basically through all these things, starting to implement it up, and then they're going to, when MaySafe actually launch the actual network, or the ability to get your client and go on it, they'll have certain drop boxes and stuff that they're going to be putting on. But one of the big things that happened 2 or 3 weeks ago, and again I'll be putting a clip. I'll put the link out when it goes up on YouTube or whatever. You can actually now. And I did this on my laptop, so I can say you can actually start your own vault. So you can actually start your own network. So I've actually got in my house right now a little network going already. So I'm actually part of the safe network, and everyone can do that. Whether you've got a Windows or a Linux or anything like that, you can just open yourself it's basically like a little web page, and you've got that, and that's your little node forever and ever. So then you're part of the network, and then it's just, hey, these I liked it for the very fact of like, wow, I'm kind of like, this is. As they're giving us a car. I'm one of the first people in it, so that's one of the things. I'll put a link up for that. But yeah, it's going really well, man. I don't want to put any dates on it because they don't want to put any dates on it. But things are progressing at a ridiculously quick rate, and the same with N99. And as you saw the episode I did with Dally, and you kind of got a glimpse of what he's building in the game environment. And since then, as you know, things have progressed ridiculously much, and some really big, as you say, movements coming on. And again, he's going to be a guest on the next few weeks. Got the guy from Demon Saw coming on, which I know you saw that and you were fascinated by what he's building with Demon Saw. So there's a lot of things coming, man. And I think the motto that's been flying around, particularly, and I've met a few of these people building these apps and I've spoken to them, is that we're all basically promise very little but deliver massive. And then, so when it is delivered, man, I think it's going to change people. People are going to be shocked by what's hit them when it's going to hit them, man. But we're getting close, and and that's what I'm saying. I'm looking forward to the day. The two things: one, when we get N99 up, because it just means I'm happy then, because it's like you were saying earlier on, you can get your stuff on N99 and instantly you're starting to get resources to you. So these are all days. And then the second big thing that I think is going to be really good when it's built as well, and I'm starting to see this as well, and I'll talk to you both off there about it, is basically huge networks already starting to be built. Record. I mean, you were talking about Frux tapes, and I mean, historic. I know. We've had a few of them on the podcast, and they're called Historic Inc., and that's a record label down in Dayton. Same sort of idea. They're setting up themselves, and they're aiming to again connect under the N99 flag and distribute each other and help each other out. And man, it's like right now, I think the analogy I'll give right now is a few of us, and it doesn't surprise me, it's been rappers, musicians and people like that, we're aware of it. We're aware of this new technology coming. Man, what's going to really excite me is when we get ourselves in that car and we start driving it around and we start putting, blinging it up a bit and doing our own stuff to it, because do you know what I mean? That's what I'm saying. I've had this conversation now 71 times, and I only wish that everybody else could be involved 71 times, because once we get 71 people together and we, us like-minded people, and man, I'm going to be inspired, because like I said before, I've seen the creations and the collaborations that have come and arisen in the last year, and we haven't even launched yet. But doing this when it's launched and we can do it at a much better rate, mate, it's going to be so inspiring. You know what I mean? It's so inspiring.
Bright times ahead, man. Yeah, for real, man. And yeah, I can't wait as well. Like, you'll have to do some sort of launch event, Tim. Get some of the artists involved.
Well, well, one of the things, man, I mean, that's what I'm saying, and I think Ryan said it perfectly earlier on. I've suffered this Google Hangouts for a year, so the minute with the network's launched, I'm off this Hangout, and it's another thing, man. I mean, I just generally, I mean, once the safe network's up and launched, I personally will be vacating virtually everything. I mean, I'll maybe use Twitter to point my people towards, and what my own node, because that's the thing. I'm going to have my own site up, and I'm going to have a weird advanced site up on the site, personally, so I can put my artwork out. But I'm going to vacate the lot. I'm going to leave the whole of the old internet and say, well, I don't particularly want to be spied upon anymore. I don't particularly want to have things crashing and stuff like that. I'm going on to a new network, so I'll launch probably the new, when it's all launched, the first one will be on this podcast, and hopefully instead of just 10 people on the screens, we can get, man, I want to get everybody on. I want to get you talking. Oh, that's what I'm saying. I want to get you talking to people like the Tactics and people like, the rappers I know in America. And I want to get everybody talking, man. That's the whole idea. So instead of just, 3 and 4 of us, we can have a massive session, man, That's the whole point of this idea. It's you grow it and you grow it and grow it, and all the people inside the network can connect with each other. And man, I've seen, this is my point, I've seen what's been created in a year of people connecting. Like I said, whether it's Follow the Lights, that's a perfect example for all of us in this room right now. Follow the Lights is a perfect example. And you can imagine that scaled up and scaled up and scaled up. Oh, mate, it's, it's going to be immense.
Pushing it, man, for real.
Yeah, man.
That's slaying.
Be playing live with live fire hoopers.
Yeah,
right on, man.
Well, yeah, man, and honestly, if I think if I was projecting, I'll ask you all this sort of question as well, where you think things are going to be, where you actually think things are going to be, and where you want things to be. So I'll answer the question first. I've kind of given you where I think I would love things to be. One of the things I would love as well, and this is one of my big wishes, and while we're all in this room together, in this conversation together, it'd be nice in the next year, the next 12 months, that all of us lot will get to meet each other face to face. Whether it's we come over to Ohio on the back of N99, or we come over and kidnap you every year, man. One of the two, because we've known each other for a year and we've never really all got to meet, face to face. So that's my personal, as you know, and I've spoken to you both privately about this. If necessary, Ryan, I'm coming over to get you, man, and we're gonna kidnap you and keep you in constant Yorkshire, man.
Yeah, man, you call my fucking rose a flower, man. I'm coming for you.
I feel like I'm gonna wake up now one night with I'm gonna hear those words as my door's about to be kicked in.
Halloween, mate, watch your back. Come with me, you want to live. Come with me if you want to live. No, man. Another one that you've talked about as well, Tim, is the N99 Fest and that festival. Which would be fucking amazing to work towards once the network is active and that, I think that'd be unreal, man.
Well, man, again on that one, I kind of keep, as you know, that's my. It's an idea that's been built on about, and there's people in the background doing it all, and again, I think what's going to be, and again, I can't say this right now because I'm, as you know, man, I ain't sitting there with some spoon coming out of my ass, mate. I'm not overflowing with money, but that's the whole point of this N99 festival. It will be self-generated. It won't be me. It won't be me earning it. It'll be people, That's what I'm saying. It'd just be basically, it's almost like a pool fund that you can just go, okay, percentage this is just, as it will be. Percentage of whatever anyone goes on N99, and anything that's generated through that will go to pool fund into putting a festival on, man. And hopefully we can do it without even touching cash at all. That's my ultimate dream. We don't even touch the dollar or the pound. We do it all. We pay the people who are going to put the stage on. They've got it in Safecoin. We put everything, completely digital. And that's so. And as you know, man, and there's two things. One thing is that when that happens, well, you're definitely headlining that festival, man. you can take that as a given. You know what I mean?
Yeah, well,
that's a given. And the other one I would love to do with N99 Festival again, and it would probably be. I'd love to do it in over one weekend and spread it around the world, because that's the thing, man. We can't just make it. It's not just a Yorkshire thing. This is a whole worldwide, taking over the world, connecting everybody around the world. So it'd be great, man, if you're going to headline the gigs. What I'm trying to say is we start you off in Yorkshire, then you do the afternoon in America and the evening in Australia. Just to do that, just to outdo Queen. Do you remember when they did that through? Man, we go one better. We do your 3 gigs in 3 continents, man.
That'd be unreal. Like the jet lag. I just have to. trying to trick my way through that, I reckon. Yeah,
Well,
man, it sounds incredible, man.
well, mate, you say that, but you know the other thing as well. And again, I don't want to sort of go too much into this, but it's been again, check it out, man. This isn't me just pulling this stuff out of my ass, man. In the last Indian elections, the guy, the way he got round, the guy who eventually won. I don't even want to try to pronounce his name because I don't even know it, but he basically, because he obviously couldn't get around to all the constituencies and the electorate in India, he was doing hologram. So basically, people, you know, you'd have a collection of maybe 1,000 people in the village. They'd put the machine up, and up you'd pop like, you know, Princess Leia or whatever on a, and he would give a live talk and hologram it to all over people in India. Go and check that on Google, man. So maybe that's the way of doing it, man. You just do one gig from your house, man, and then you just beam yourself fifth dimension. Mate, that's proper fifth dimension shit, man.
Man,
They're doing a Whitney Houston hologram.
maybe,
Yeah, man.
Like they did the Tupac hologram, they're doing a Whitney one.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, I was going to say, we could maybe get Tupac to do a guest first or something, man. But yeah.
Just imagine 5 to 7 years there'll be like a Gigi Allen hologram that's just like on stage pooping and throwing it at people. Like, oh, I got hit with hologram poop from hologram Gigi Allen.
A little less physical than the real thing.
Yeah.
I don't mind getting hit by pixel piss.
I'm sure to some extent it would be like, it would probably be just a little bit more awkward than if it was a real person. Because you're like, this is like some weird, like Tim was saying, this is some weird fifth dimension shit, and he's crapping on the ground and picking it up, and he tried to smear it on me.
You just cut himself and there's pixel blood fucking gushing everywhere, man. Yeah, man.
The guy from the Matrix tried to shit on me.
Yeah, man. When that does happen, like we will have to take a step back and really look at ourselves.
Man, I think it's going to be very interesting. And this is bound to happen. Someone's going to do this in the next sort of 2 or 3 years. Is, you know, particularly with when Oculus Rift is switched on. And I know at the moment there's very close. That's exactly the point I was making about Eric from Demon Shore. That they're very close to stitching in safe network with the Oculus Rift. Man, it's not going to be very long before you're going to have the massive. And I'm talking about, you could talk about millions of people turning up to a virtual gig. Because how many? You don't need security. You don't need. You know what I mean? If it's in completely like Oculus Rift Vision, where you know you're into. That's going to be somebody's going to do that, man. I mean, these are things that are going to happen.
What I think about the Google Glass and how that just got like hated on as soon as it was released, and people just like, you'd wear one in public and somebody would just look at you like, fuck this guy. And just reading articles about like people that had Google Glass and just the way people would look at them like it's like they were just idiots and from like some other planet. And I think I read an article where like some dude literally like pulled the Google Glass off of somebody on like a subway or a train or something and just threw it on the ground and smashed it like with his foot. like he didn't, this hardcore expensive piece of like technology, and like dude didn't even try to steal it. He just straight pulled it off your and smashed it with his foot because he was like, fuck that, fuck you.
But do you know what, Ryan? If I saw someone with Google Glass, I would feel the same way, because you've got no idea they're not just putting this all out on live stream somewhere. We don't know. That's the point of that Google Glass. It's like, well, where are you recording this and putting this out on your YouTube channel live? We don't know.
Yeah, but I mean, just as far as like, I don't know, if I went to somebody's house and he was like, yeah, I have an Oculus Rift, and I'd be like, it just seems like something that you'd bring up when people are around. Like if I had it at my house, I don't know how often I'd want to do it, just because that'd be kind of, it's just creepy to me that like one man alone in like his house in a room somewhere, but then he puts on his, you know, it's almost like the sort of pseudopsychology behind Facebook, and how, you know, you can post something, you can just sit in your room for 12 hours, post something on Facebook, and you know, you have 200 friends and 50 of them like it, and all of a sudden you feel like you're a part of the world because somebody somebody clicked a button, and I don't know, just sitting there giggling to yourself like that part of the world, like somebody clicked my shit on Facebook, and then you look around and it's just like a cat, like an empty beer bottle, and some cans of SpaghettiOs, and you're just sitting in a room, and that's all it is. And same thing with Oculus Rift. You can see whatever, you can do whatever. You can be like, oh, I just had this fabulous threesome with these amazingly beautiful women, and then you take off your glasses and you're still just a fat ass with a wife beater on a sofa, alone, covered in cut up hot dogs and mustard. And it's cool at first, but after a while you're just kind of like, yeah, coming back to reality sucks. So.
Well, man, we've spoken about this before, Ryan, and this is what I'm saying. I mean, I think there'll be people that will literally, they put the Oculus Rift glasses on once, and that's it. They're never going to take them off. They'll just be eating and living in Oculus Rift world for their whole existence.
Tim, what makes you think that we haven't already done that? And that's
mate, we've already covered that one, man.
Like I said, sitting in a room and somebody posts a status, and all of a sudden, you feel like you're a credible source of talking to somebody else about this person's life. Like oh yeah, they're doing good. I saw a picture of them on Facebook yesterday. She was smiling, and like, yeah, that was social media. It's not life. Like it's The Sims, but it's pictures of your friends.
Yeah, it's kind of like actually like meeting up face to face in it and just having a fucking drink or watching that band. Those real like technology is fucking amazing. Don't get me wrong, man. But, yeah, I mean, yeah. You have to feel, man. You have to be in that moment. You have to be, talking to that person, fucking having that drink, fucking connecting, man. Connecting, same seeing a band or whatever, man. In that moment, feeling that energy and that shit's maybe it's replaceable, but it's never going to be the same, is it? Like,
no, man. I was just going to say, man, I didn't go on. Man, I just want to quickly eject Ryan and feel free. But I was just going to say, technology, man, is just like anything, like electricity, like fire, like caffeine. What you do with it is up to you. Do you know what I mean? You can sit there and drink caffeine all day. You can sit there and, electrocute yourself on a plug if you want. You can sit there and stare at a fire all day. I mean, do you know what I mean? It's what we do with it, and that's why as we said before, that's why it's all about changing this mindset of people, because that power can be used in negative and positive ways. You know what I mean? I mean, nuclear power is a perfect example, man. It was set up as one of the most greatest technology sort of things, and it got into the hands of people who had the wrong mindset. So all we can hope to do is let's be really real about it. Even if this technology does, which it is, it's going to happen, then I'd rather that it be shaped, as we were saying earlier on, by people with the right mindset than people who are psychopathic and using this. Oh, I can destroy. Sorry, Ryan. go on, chip in, Ryan. Sorry, I chipped in. I'm very rude.
No, well, I was just gonna say, like, when you're in a conversation or you're, whatever you're doing, you sort of put yourself into a bubble if you're that concentrated into it. So, if you're writing a song or you're working on music, you're sitting at your desk, you're in a conversation at a bar, you're wherever, there is that sort of, even if you're at a wedding, or something like that, you feel that sort of bubble that like surrounds the wedding or surrounds you as a conversation or surrounds you in doing whatever you're doing on your computer. But then, something like this to me is just as equal as far as concentration, FaceTime, my bubble is only this big, but at the same time, like, you guys are in that bubble because we are doing face-to-face. We are talking directly. Whereas, if I'm just on the phone and I'm talking to somebody, so many people multitask while they're on the phone. You see people talk on the phone while they're driving. And people, they'll watch TV while they're on the phone, or they'll listen to music while they're on the phone, and it's like, you're not getting that full 100% like we are, doing something like this, or if somebody's sitting at a bar, you're getting 100%. Once you add something to that equation, like, unless you're outside just sort of, hanging out with the stars and looking at the moon and inside of a full conversation, you're only at about 50%, because 50% of your attention is going to the conversation. The other 50% is going to driving or eating or watching TV or whatever. And then once you get to something like Facebook or Twitter or any other social media where you're trying to like contact with somebody, there's an even more diminished, or even texting, there's an even more diminished amount of attention that you're paying towards the conversation, because you have all the time in the world to respond. Somebody writes to you, somebody says something, and then, you know, it just shows up, and you just kind of sit there and you look at it, and you can go do whatever. And you can come back and respond whenever you want. And it's sort of like that underwritten rule that it's, you know, the conversation somebody can just disappear from the conversation, and, you know, nothing will be, you know, nobody will think twice about it, because that's just what it is. It's, you know, Facebook, Twitter, whatever. Like it's one of those convenience things. And
yeah.
And I don't know. And another thing would be like the modes of communication that, you know, you're talking about, instead of the technology that it's opened. You know, God, they came out with chat roulette, and look what happened there. You know, the whole idea of like, oh, you could randomly talk to anybody you want, and it, you know, when you were talking about like the possibilities of people communicating and stuff, you know, and how somebody could talk to like a tribe in Africa. Like I was thinking of somebody like some sort of backwoods redneck in some sort of you know, southern state, still rocking the rebel flag, racist as hell, whatever, like somehow ends up on chat roulette with like a tribesman that's like so out of touch with civilization, he's in the woods in South America, and them actually having a conversation. It's like, God, that's awesome. But then in reality, you get something like chat roulette, where people are basically like, you know, every other person is like a dude masturbating. And it's just like, what the fuck is going on? Like, this was supposed to be chat roulette, and all of a sudden, like, the screen pops on. It's just like some dude's penis, and he's like, ah! It's like, oh man, like we had the opportunity, and what do we do with it?
That's it, man. I guess it's like that with any kind of technology, though, and it can be used or it can be abused, and that.
Oh yeah.
Anything really, like, but yeah. What were you going to say there, Tim?
No, I was just going to say, Ryan, it taps into what you were saying. We were talking about this the other night about, you know, it's one of the differences you see in different cultures around the world and different societies is that you were talking about the other day, Ryan, the idea of public spaces where people are sat around playing, you know, chess or backgammon and stuff like that, as compared to, you know, no public spaces and everyone just getting hyped about American football or basketball or follow the team, you know. And it's the ones I'm trying to say, these cultures do exist around the world, and they work really well. That's why I was saying it's the analogy of the campfire. And you know, you don't want 1,000 people around your campfire, but you want 10 people, because or you know, as we said, it's that ultimate number. But that would be, it's like you were saying, Ryan. It's so deeply ingrained in our culture that we don't even have public places to learn chess or backgammon. We'd rather go for sports that are all about must win. And as we were saying the other night, man, one of the first lessons and important lessons in life is you lose. You lose, man. We lose at life. We die. I mean, it's just a simple lesson number one of life. We're going to lose. We might as well try to, you know, stay positive while we're, you know, an attempt to win every now and again.
Well, even what's funny about social media too is like how often you see awkward encounters of somebody hitting on somebody else. And granted, I'll say it's usually a guy hitting on a girl, but like, it's just like you notice it right away, and it's just like, it's so awkward, and it's just weird, and it's like, who are the, like, man, like, you can't even go out and just like meet people, like, or even like approach somebody in some sort of like decent, respectful manner. It's always like, oh, they retweeted my tweet, so then I'll respond to that. They respond to me, and then it's like, hey, where do you live? And it's like, wow, that's a little creepy. And like, and I mean, it gets a little bit more like personal than that. Like, they'll live in the same city or something, and somebody will be like, yeah, what part of, you know, the city do you live in? I live there too. And it's like, wow, yeah, you're starting to get creepy now, because I know where this leads. And I actually saw one of my friends on Facebook, and some dude that was like, oh man, it was just creepy, because it's like that awkward moment in a bar where you see it happen, and like you see the like wrong person hitting on the wrong person, and you know, it's just like watching a train wreck, and there it is on like Facebook, and it's just like posted there, like, yeah, it's like, oh man, this is actually happening like live. God, this is awful. Like, oh, he invited her to her bar. Oh, come on. How many times does she have to tell you her car's broken down? Like, this is getting so bad.
It's
And
like a
then,
public fucking self-offer, man. Like, I think people are just generally more detached, aren't they? And, like, people just sit and just like don't know how to fucking like interact personally. I mean, I had something like kids these days that like they get to a point of they're not even. I hate to sound. I sound like a fucking old man now, don't I? But like getting to a point like just fucking like not even texting like fucking words. It's all just like little icons, emojis, and all this sort of shit. They're just communicating with these little fucking symbols, man. You know, it's a
Why
new
don't-
fucking language, new
why
world
don't-
order fucking rising up right now, man.
We're gonna be out of fucking.
We're fucking
work.
dinosaurs, boys. Like, this is it. Game over. Like,
I've never felt the need to take a picture of my dick and send it. Just really have not. It's not that I'm not proud. I'm proud. I've just never felt the need to be like, check this out. Send that one off into the hybrid web, whatever you want to call it.
These pesky kids and their pesky emojis.
Emojis and dick pics. It's emojis and dick pics. Shaking my fist.
Dan, I had a kind of flashback to the future when I saw you as an old granddad. Then, man, these pesky kids and their new emojis and their music that doesn't make any sense.
exactly, Tim. We're doing like it's about to happen. I'm losing anyway.
So, man, I kind of like, I gave you my earlier on. I was sort of saying, where sort of my hopes and sort of things for the future, and where I think things may be. Again, I wanted to like ask you two guys and everyone on here, what are your hopes for the sort of the next year? It doesn't be particularly 1 year, but what are your hopes for the next year? And personally, as a band or yourselves, what you want to do, and just generally in the world. And then what do you actually think we're going to be in this year's time? I mean, it's all right, projecting what we hope to be, but where is that projection completely in line with what you think will happen, or do you think how you're projecting it is going to actually a lot different for how it's actually going to be? So it's a double open question, really, but I'd love to hear your thoughts.
Just fucking make it past that 27 club, mate. Fucking.
Okay.
Do you know what I mean, man? Like, I don't know, man. Future's unwritten. That's something that we always kind of ride by. So, like, like you can't. Maybe there are hopes and shit like that, man. But honestly, it's just like every single day, man. Just fucking polish that and slay that and try and push yourself and your things and whatever we're all connected with doing in that, and just try and fucking push it as much as you fucking can, man. Like, yeah, man, I hear that, and like, yeah, shoot, I just started to work on some more music and stuff and get some more releases out and stuff like that. I like your input to the question as well. Like, it'd be great to meet up for all of us to meet up in the flesh and that, man. That'd be sweet as fuck. Like,
yeah,
so,
man.
Yeah, that'd be awesome, man.
Oh, absolutely.
The future's unwritten. Yeah, too right, Ryan. But like, yeah, the future's unwritten, man. Like, fucking anything can happen, man. Yeah, man. And it's just a continually slaying away at shit, man. As we all do. I think that's I think that's kind of what. So like, yeah, for us getting some more new music out, doing more shows, spreading the word. So, whatever, man. Like, if you have kind of goals in mind and dates down and shit like that, you've always got something to work towards. So it's every step. It is every step, and it's good to have shit to work towards. And with this N99, bubbling up to the max as well, man. You know what I mean? It's there's a bright future ahead, and we just have to carry these beacons till we get there, man.
Not that there is a correct or incorrect answer to that, but correct. The incorrect answer would have been that. Do you know what? I'm going to give this all up, and I decided I want to put a tie on and work for the man. So you gave me the correct. If there is a correct answer, you said the correct way, man. That's all I want to hear, man. I just want to hear that. That's all that people want to hear is that we're all going to keep doing what we're doing, man. So.
That's it, man. For real, man.
And I think you actually said it absolutely perfect, man. And it was kind of a, right. Even the question was kind of worded wrong because, next year is next hour, is the next minute, is the next second. I mean, there's no point trying to, look ahead any more than that. I mean, it's the old thing. Now is always is now. This is it. This is the moment. You know what I mean?
Definitely, mate.
Well, I'm hoping that Ryan's ambition for the next year, man, should be to. I've told him this. He's got to not shave for a year because anyone that can grow a beard that well definitely deserves to be growing, for a whole long year, man. Well, I want proper shaggy wild woodsman, man. Do you know what I mean? All I need is,
Right.
Yeah, I didn't really have intentions of growing it, and I really don't have intentions of shaving it. So that's the prospect for my year is going to be growing this beard and looking pretty. No, I mean, like they said though, I'm the same way. I really don't like to think of, where am I going to be in the next year because even if I would try to say something, I would feel like I was limiting myself, and I would think about it too much, and I would be like, like I don't need 12 months to do that. Like I could do that in 4 months if I really put my mind to it. And I don't even think of all the things that I have done in the past year or whatever until Tim kind of mentioned it, and that's just kind of what a lot of us do. You put your head down and you work into things, and you don't think about much else besides that. You just do the work, and it because as you're doing it, it doesn't seem like work. It's just like I was saying, it's you and the bubble around you, and you just get in that mode, and you just keep doing it, and you do it for however long it takes, and then something else pops up. Like I was working on stuff with the wig head and thumbnobulist and stuff like that, and a couple other like videos that I wanted to shoot, and I was getting props for this one video for thumbnobulist, and then Paul Mackey came out of nowhere and was telling me about this segment for this movie, and it's like, okay, well obviously I want to do it, so, and for some reason I just got this bug in me that was like, yeah, I'm gonna, like, I really want to be the first person to like get something done and sent to him. And I think the guys in South Africa, they shot before me. I don't know if their segment's done, but I'm still kind of hoping to get my segment done before they get theirs done. But I really just to like push myself and be like, if you don't, it's kind of simple. The way I wrote it was very simple. It was very easy to shoot, and it was very sort of dialogue. It's very humorous dialogue. It's all just like me talking on a phone, but you never hear the person that I'm talking to, and you only hear my side of the conversation. And I'm just saying, I'll crack some jokes about the clouds or whatever, and do whatever, but everything just has. You'll think I'm talking about one thing, and then it just goes right back into the clouds, and it's just this sort of subconscious thing where all this guy can do is talk about the clouds, and so it was very simple to shoot, and I was like, the editing's going to be very simple, so I'll do this. I'll just do this ASAP and do it as fast as I can. And I went out and bought the phone, which was like an old rotary phone with a hand dial. That was like $8. It's like, sweet, I got my phone. Like now all I have to do is shoot this. And I spent a day last week for 7.5, 8 hours with another guy helping me direct it, and we shot it, got it done. And it's like, that's how you do it. Stuff I wasn't planning this 2 months ago. It just happened, and it happened as I had my head down. And so I had my head down, I was doing my work, and somebody asked if I wanted to do something, and I got super excited about it, and my head got down even more. I just kept doing more and more work. And then somebody like Tim says like, oh man, you've been doing a bunch this year, and I'm like, oh well, oh shit, that's right, yeah, I did that. Oh yeah, I did do that. That was fun. Okay.
You have to though, don't you? You have to stop and look back and see how far you've come. And that every now and again. I know, like, I don't always do it all the time myself. You're always pursuing the moment. You know what I mean? Like, fucking. So it's easy to forget, but when you do, and that it's good to reflect on that, man. It really is, man.
Yeah,
I think it's very motivating. Just to, you get down and you start thinking like things aren't going your way, and then kind of look back and be like, holy shit, like I've done so much just to like, get up to this point. Like, imagine if I kept doing it.
Yeah, for real, man. And it's good to get those goals, having something on board, to
Hmm.
Work towards
yeah,
and
to,
stuff.
to work on and that,
Keeps
man.
you sane, doesn't it? Keeps you fucking focused and shit.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. And that's the saying. All the time you're working, as I said before, it's better to be busy than bored, because once you get into the bored state of mind, which is I know something we all hate. That's exactly what you're saying, Ryan. That's why we do put our heads down, because when we're doing it, it's almost to fight that resistance of boredom. I mean, I was talking to Phil Mucci last night, and he was saying he's going to take some time off, and he's hating it. He's hating the idea of having to sit back and just sit and chill, and it's such a hard thing to do. But we all need that. And that's one of the balance. Again, goes back to this balance. We all need to, at times, as I was saying to you the other night, say, it's all about life goes on. Sometimes it's drip, then it's a drip, and then it's a more of a trickle, then it's a flow, then it's a flood, and then it's a drip. But all the time, even in the moments when nothing's going on, it's still coming, man. It's just building up, like you say, or as you say, as you two say, it's brewing, which is a very proper Yorkshire way of doing it. But the other way, the other lesson again, because I think life's all lessons. I think it's kind of like when we sit in, we reflect on things, And one of the lessons that I know that we've all had frustrations in our own ways with, and it's a lesson I've learned over the last year particularly is, and I'll try to implement this now, is that we're all, and I know it's something we've all got very shared, we're all open people, we're all be very creative, and we're all give our hearts to everybody else, but I know we've all had each to different varying levels, and it's a lesson I've learned is that maybe we should be a bit more selective about who we put the effort into, because we've all done stuff for people this year, and we put loads of effort and time in, and they've just basically just walked away and done nothing with our creation. So, and I know it's a lesson that we're all very open people, and I wouldn't change the way I am like that. I love to be, if something inspires me, I create, and I'll do as much as I can. But equally, a lesson to learn, and I think that's what it's all about, man. It's a lesson I've definitely learned. It's like, okay, from now on, I'm going to be a bit more right. I'm going to, wary about what I do for people, because, there's nothing worse than having your time wasted. That's my kind of lesson. Again, and if anyone's listening, I hope that's a lesson to be learned, man. Try to be selective, because if not, you'll find a lot of people will come along. They want to take everything outside of you, waste your time, and you don't get any, not that you want anything out of it, but you think that's just been a waste of time because you've never used my effort. So that's a lesson I've learned in the last year, particularly. So
Yeah, that's sound, Tim. I hear that, man. And like you said before, man, like life's all about fucking learning to lose, man.
mm.
I think that's right on the money.
But I know it's something particular, and I'm not particularly that I was speaking for myself, and I don't want to go into it. It's not important, but I know. I mean, I always get frustrated, and maybe I'm flying the flag if a bit for Ryan, because I know Ryan has done a load of videos for people that have never been seen the light of day, and it's always frustrating.
I think some of them are coming out the beginning of October. That's what I hear.
Okay.
That's again what I hear.
Exactly, but that's what I'm trying to say, man. And the reason I say it is because I know how much effort and time you put into it. So, that's just a lesson. I don't know. I mean, maybe that's just applicable to me, but I think it's a lesson that seems to be quite sort of common to a lot of creative people, that we can be a bit taken advantage of.
Yeah.
Well, you've done it too. I mean, I know you've done, a lot of work for other people, and you've showed me like, pieces of it and talked a lot about some things, and it's still like, where's this final product?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, man. Yeah, these things happen, man. In when you're trying to make something or work, particularly other people's and stuff like that. Everyone's got their schedule, agenda, whatever, man. Like to really kind of boil it down and that, like the whole punk ethos of do it yourself.
Mm-hmm.
That's such an important role for artists like all of ourselves who are doing this shit independently. So you can't rely you can't rely on others.
No.
I mean, or maybe I would that you have to put in everything you can do to push something that you believe in.
Yeah.
And And yeah, and like I say, sometimes people don't always read from the same hymn book or whatever the fuck. That's life, man. And like Dan said, then it's you learn to lose, man. One thing's certain, man. You know what I mean? We're all going to lose, man. We're all going to die, man.
You gain from it, though. I mean,
it's the experience, man.
Yeah, you can. That's something that's just it really is irreplaceable. You know, you can tell somebody you know, be care. You know, you can tell somebody new who's coming up, like, you know, be careful who you work for, be careful who you work with, or who you do things for, or what you pay into, and you know, until they lose money, until they get you know, bumped from a show, or until they, you know, just start paying for things in other ways, do they really, you know, start to understand, like, ah, shit, like, you know, it's, you know, there's the artists and the people that care, and then there's the ones that know they can make $1 off it, and that's their sole intention, is to see numbers. And obviously, you know, it's just weird because it's like they think that we as artists, you know, if you're going to play a live show, sometimes, you know, a club owner might do something ridiculous to the point where, you know, it's almost like he doesn't think that you're trying to see numbers. That he's not even, you know, treating you like a business. He's treating you like, you know, oh, well, you're gonna make money somewhere else. Whereas, you know, every artist in the world knows that, you know, the musician or somebody in the field of music, you know, that your money is coming from live performances. You know, you're putting out an album is, you know, you hope to make at least break even, like you guys said earlier. You try to break even with that, but then when you play live, you know, even then you're trying to break even. But it's like a lot of artists that are coming up, like that's where they make their money. So even like a group like Run the Jewels, you know, they put their music out for free on their website, because they're going to make it back when they go and play live, because obviously, you know, they're to a point where they have that credibility. They can get, they can pull crowds. Pitchfork's done a lot for them, so
they can get sacked on the ropes on a beat and that. Yeah, I mean, yeah,
yeah. But even like, you know, you put, you know, I bought the Ceiling Demons hard copy, and it's like, you know, you guys, once again, you put in the money into that hard copy. You got it pressed. You know, did whatever to, you know, fulfill that idea of, you know, you wanted a hard copy. Obviously, as an audience member, I wanted the hard copy. Yeah. So, you know, I buy the hard copy. Then there's, you know, Bandcamp, which takes its cut. There's the shipping, which takes its cut. There's taxes, which take that cut. And, you know, at the end of the day, you know, like I said, a lot of artists and musicians don't really see that much come back on their music, but they see more when they do live. If they, you know, go on tour and play a shitload of dates, stuff like that, like that's where they're going to make a lot of their money. So
yeah, man, for real, I mean, I think that's it as well. Like, it totally depends on the established kind of level of an artist as well. Like for Run the Jewels, like, you know what I mean, LP Killer Mike, man, those cats, particularly LP, man, he's like a cult underground, like, you know what I mean, like, he's got an audience in that, man. So I mean, and then pushing out their music and having stuff like Pitchfork and that, they're gonna get the gigs. So they played Reading and Leeds, and they did Glastonbury, I believe, and yeah, like all these kind of ones that are gonna pay that kind of money, man. Still, even at like a level that we're at, there've been like a few occasions where we've got, you know, we've actually made something, but I mean, a lot of the times, whatever, we'll just get like a minimum kind of fee that will hopefully cover the transport. You know what I mean? So
well, I mean, yeah, that's you know, even if I can't think of many groups that, you know, if they're not getting at least 1 million views on YouTube, you know, they're probably not getting.
Yeah, booking,
you know, they're probably just trying to break even as well.
Yeah.
But if you're somebody that has all those views on YouTube, then a club owner's like, hey, you know, and I think I've heard of it, but you know, it wouldn't surprise me. I might actually have made this up out of nothing. I can't tell you at this point, but you know, I think I've heard of like club owners literally, like, if you're a group or something, like, they'll look you up on YouTube just to see how many views you have. Yeah. And they'll base their, you know, who's going to come in and see you live off of how many views you have on YouTube.
Yeah, your social media numbers and all that stuff, man. Yeah, big time, man. Promoters use that all the time now, man. And that's just the kind of way it's the world and how it's going and like, yeah. I mean, that's why it's important for like someone like us to. You have to ride these waves when they're happening, man. So yeah, I mean, and it's a good thing as well. I think some of the, how you can get out your art via these medias and that. But yeah, I mean, I'm sure on the podcast last year we were kind of talking about like that Bristol gig that we did, and just how just how much of a struggle and how much of an investment it can be on your behalf as well. But you got, like Dan said earlier on, you have to put in. You know what I mean? You put in the love and hopefully you'll get some back, man.
Well, yeah, going back to what you're just saying then, Dan, I mean, the ultimate part of it is everything's an illusion, man, and everything you're doing, whether it's good, bad, whether people use it, don't use it, it doesn't matter, man. None of it matters. It's like you were just saying then, lads. It's all about just living in that moment and staying positive in that moment, and yeah, anything you leave behind, whether the people, it's just legacies, man. We talked about this before, and we kind of mentioned in podcasts before, but everything is an illusion, man. And to get attached to any kind of illusion, that's the wrong mindset, man. Do you know what I mean? They're just, and then we know that as creative people, man, because once we create something, we put it out there, it's done for us, isn't it? You know what I mean? We're on to the next one.
That's it, man. Yeah, like you say, it's knowing that time when to just leave it and let it fly on its own accord,
Yeah, man.
There's only so much you can do at a certain point. You're exhausted. You're tired of typing. You're tired of, sort of selling yourself. But one of the things about doing my own press release or press releases was sort of learning the idea of, again, the idea of the bubble, of being able to encompass what I've done or what I'm doing or who I am into a bubble. And actually,
third person.
I'm sure even with the Ceiling Demons, like as soon as you guys were like really putting together your, 110, 120 words about who you are as a group, and you have to really sort of select and choose those words and how you describe yourself, and you go through the process and you go through your drafts and you will it down and you finally get it done, and you're just kind of like, wow, that really kind of that described us in a way that I didn't think I didn't think of describing myself, but I had to do it for this press release, whatever.
It's a weird one writing things like that because you
third person. You have to pretend that you're not you.
Well, yeah, it's like writing a fucking job application or something like that when like you just try to up in a way and like you just like. I'm not like you just sort of think, oh, I'm not this good. Like, I mean, it looks good on paper, but you can see through it. It's not real and that. Like, but it is.
You put that shit down, and it's like, whoa.
It is though. It's a weird. It's a weird thing because I don't know. I think a lot of artists can be modest and stuff, and I think it's a good thing, to be honest. I think it's always good to be humble and things like that, man. But you at the same time to grow, you like we said earlier on in the podcast, it's like look at life as people, and you've got to look back and like when you're writing things like that, you do sort of pull in all these things, and you just sort of got to pat yourself on your back, man, and you got to be like, well, this is progress, this is growth, and I find it awkward. Maybe it's like an English thing as well. Maybe you have to try to like write something and like big yourself up and that. It's just I find that awkward, really awkward. But you've got to be grateful about it
and like acknowledge certain things.
Yeah, just see the growth, man, and like we're all growing and that. And I think too often people don't acknowledge that, and people don't look back and they don't give themselves that sort of credit that they deserve. And like to yourself, you know what I mean? Like everyone's got to be kind and loving to themselves as much as anyone else. And sometimes I think as people we can deprive ourselves of that.
Yeah, man. And I mean, one of the things I think is great about, particularly what you're doing with the demons and stuff like that, and I think it's beautiful, man. I said this many times, is that, as I was saying earlier on, you know, if we want any evidence of where we've come in the last year, man, just look at it. It's there visually. It's there. You can hear it. These are just legacies left, man, and I love it. I love looking back and thinking, wow, look at all this, look what's been produced, man. Because this is just, come from you guys just making some music, me coming together, and and then other people like Ryan coming in, and before you know it, you like look back and you think, oh man, we're on a snowball of a momentum that that's just going to carry so far down the line, man. And it has been momentous, you know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah, mate, absolutely, man. Like, it's it's fascinating, man. And how this all like you say, you're just building more and more connections and that. It's weaving that web, like Dan said as well earlier on. Growth,
Well,
man.
I think it's that's what I was trying to say. I mean, and and I think it's going to be fascinating. That's what I love about if we can just step out of the Demons project as much as we can. But I love looking back and seeing. You can see the whole development visually and lyrically. You can see, and it's all there. You haven't got to sort of like tap into some sort of deep memory bank. It's out there. You know what I mean? And these are the flowers, man. We're the seeds and they're the flowers, man. And you know what I mean? That music has inspired art, and that artwork inspires music, and it's sickly. And beyond us, what like you say, like we're there ploughing away and creating. All this stuff is left behind us, man. And you look back and you're like, oof. We did all this. We did it. I mean, that's like you said, man. It hasn't been done by anybody else. We've done this. It's the music has inspired us, but the hard work has been done by these human hands, man.
Yeah, right on, man. Yeah,
Totally, my man. Totally.
I think that's one thing that you when you asked about like hopes or something to aim towards and that as well, man. That I think what we need to do is do another show up in Scotland, mate.
Yes.
And get you and David down the front.
Yeah, you that's right, man. Like, get you and the bass crew, just get them down there. We'll do it in fucking do it in Troon, man. Like, do it there.
Or Glasgow, get Machines and Heffen boys to fucking get some showdown or something like that, and we'll all push it and that. So let this web grow, man. Let this flower thrive.
I mean, that you say that, and I definitely think that you joke about it, but I kind of like had preliminary discussions about doing such a thing, man. But the only thing, and it's kind of like a little known secret, but I'm sure if we ever had a gig with the Demons, man, you'd have to sort of hold David from getting on stage with you, because he used to be in a band, man. He used to be in a punk band.
Did he? Yeah.
Yeah, man. Yeah.
Yeah, we could get to do backup vocals and something.
And I think I was just going to say, man, I think...
What did he play?
I think he was a bass player, and I think off the top of my head, as I remember, I think it's either 12 or 13, but I'm going to go with 13. No, I'm going to go with 12. 12 inches just hurts. That was the name of his band. And I thought that's such a great name for a punk band, man. 12 inches just hurts, man. Yeah. Like, showing off again. But no, man, he used to play bass and stuff. So, yeah, and again, what I say, man, do you know one of the things that I bring it back again, and I've been lucky enough to sort of fortunate enough to speak to some of the people coding this and building the apps and stuff. And it's amazing how the commonality in music they all like. And do you know what I mean? It's quite a common. I'm noticing this as a trait now, and and I did read a study actually, quite ironically enough, and I'll put the notes up, and they did find that certain personality types like certain types of music. So people who are empathetic like certain types of music, and people who are into, like for instance, one of the general headlines, but people who are very much into code and stuff like that, like heavy music, as in big beats and big things that are real and expressive. So it doesn't. It's amazing, man. You know what I mean? That's why I keep saying to you lads, it's the thing about where we live in this world now. We're starting to realise as human beings is that there are no leaders and followers. We're all just pushing ourselves along in this momentum, and we're all inspiring each other, man. And that's the thing. We're all inspiring each other, and we should all feel part of the thing. That's what I'm saying. Okay, you know, like I said, I can't write code, you can't write code, but man, you know, through those hours of long coding sessions when it's cold and wet through the winter, what they listen to, geoscience, man. It all inspires. Everything is. That's why we have to carry on and do what we do, man. So, you know, like I said, there was no right or wrong answer to the question I asked you earlier on. But man, you gave the correct, answer in that sense. You know, the wrong answer would have been we're quitting. You know, that's the wrong answer. You know, we
drove down the bank and we're gonna bury that mask. It's not what you want to hear. Yeah, mate. No, man. For real, man.
Because it's, you know what I mean, and I think particularly with, particularly what you lads do. You know, again, maybe like you said, Dan, maybe we all need to sort of tell each other this, and that's what we need. We need outside opinions, and and I'd hope you would know, and I'm not trying to blow your ego, because it's not. But the reason the power of what the demons have, and I speak for myself, and I know this other people say to me, is the way you connect is because you're real, man, and that's the big power that you have, lads, and the power of what you've got with that is when you are being real, you don't realise how many people in the world are fake. I tend to be a real person, and then you realise, like, oh shit, anything we produce then therefore by consequence is real, and then you realise, like, oh blimey, people really do like real stuff in the world out there, because they're not getting it. That's the point. We're living in a world where we're not getting any real music, we're not getting any real art, we're not getting any real films. We're just being fed this, as Ryan would call it, the sludge. It's all the same crap, man. But as right now, as a momentum of history, man, right now, okay, we're the small, but as I said to you, that video, that video I sent you last night, that 20% soon takes over, man. The herd will soon switch, and the great thing is, man, we go back to where we started this podcast is, and this is one thing that we can stand tall in, me, particularly you lads, is that, man, future generations are going to look back at us and going to go, well, at least they were flying the flag for the right things, man. At the time, we didn't jump. You know what I mean? And that's all we can do, mate. Which is, like you said, that's the true essence of slaying positive. Is going out there and telling the truth about everything you see around you, good, bad, ugly, everything.
The creative rising, Tim. Fucking ants, man. Keep it lit.
Well, that's exactly it, man. And I think that, as you said, the analogy, it really is a great analogy of ants. And I said this before, analogy of the ants and the seeds is perfect. Right now, you look at the world out there, and if anyone was to, like, say, come in from an alien species and look at the planet around there and go, oh God, man, what are they watching? What are they listening to? But underneath the surface, man, and trust me, I've done 71 of these podcasts. There's a huge amount of creative talent out there, and it's all just underground, like little ants, all beavering away. But and it's the same analogy with the seeds. Right now, you look out at a desert, and it's all dry and dusty, and it's like, oh God, there's nothing going on. But underneath that ground, man, there's so much talent. And all it's going to need is a bit of water. And that's why I use the analogy. The safety net is like a rain cloud. It's going to come and rain the soil, release the soil, and you're going to watch how much it's going to thrive. And that's why I was kind of trying to sort of base into in the next sort of year, because I just think. I've seen this, I told you before, man. I was there and I saw hip-hop rise from the streets of New York, and now it changes the world. And I think we're going to see the same thing again. Because I just think, as you know, lads, and you know this as well as me, there's so much creativity just under the radar at the moment. But the stuff that is there is blows my mind away, man. And that's not just you demons, boys. That's outside your houses, running Chelsea, The Weekend. My list could go on, and your list could go on.
Justin Bieber's coming out. He's dropping fire.
Oh well. We all know that he's just the most genius and creative person on the planet, right? We don't need that saying, man. Come on.
He's the Buddha of our time. It's a fact. Science. You can't deny it.
Well, look, perfect, lad. I mean, we kind of hung around for you, Ryan, because we knew you were taking a sabbatical for 15 minutes. So, and I did mention to you two lads before that I wanted to, I did ask you if you wanted to sort of, a tune to finish on. So I'm going to finish on. I'm going to finish on 21st Blessings, because it just means a lot to me as a tune and that. So I would love to, a couple of things really. I mean, one, kind of just sort of tell me a bit about that sort of this, sort of like for people who don't know what the sort of the significance of 21st Blessing means, and secondly, man, kind of just again just I don't know, man. If you could sort of sum up what was, if you wanted to put all this, like Ryan was just saying, and boil it all down to one little kind of sentence, how would you kind of, finish with, a summary of this podcast conversation, man? What would you want to leave the people with, man? If this could be the last, we never know, man. We could be hit by a meteor tonight. This could be the last thing they ever hear from the Demons, man. So,
and let's leave my beard out of it, because I know you're just gonna keep talking about my beard, and we're gonna talk about how cool it is, and yeah, we all know. So
we all know that.
And there's a song by the Beatles called "Let It Beard."
Right, Ollie.
Right, okay, yeah. There's
21st Birthday Blessings.
Man, yeah.
That's sort of the track which sort of planted the whole seed for the Demons. Like everything which sort of grew from that song, and it was like originally, it's a tribute to our mate who passed away about 4.5 years ago, and the song samples a Kurt Vile song called "Runner Ups." When we lost our mate, we were quite young and really quite torn up about it all. Through the bereavement, it was quite hard, and like it's like you look back on things and it's a strange one. Si ended up making a slideshow of lots of photos that we had together and things like that, and he put it on YouTube just to share to family and friends as a bit of comfort. And the song that he picked for that was Kurt Vile, "Runner Ups." Our mate George, Pete Demon, heard it and was feeling it, and he started getting into making hip hop. He was at Birmingham University at the time, and he was getting into making hip hop. So he was feeling that tune, and he made a bit of a beat of it. He come out of our house in late August 2011 or 10.
Early August.
Yeah,
2011.
And he showed us this beat that he made, which sampled that song. And
I was like, I just grabbed it, like, "Here, mate, I'm going to put words on that." That's it. That's exactly what I did. So I wrote some lines in that one,
and then that song you actually rapped one of the lines for in Every Step. My best friends are gone, but I've got runner-ups, which was I had heard that before I heard 21st Birthday Blessings, and it was I mean, you guys basically showed me Kurt Vile, which was, I'm a huge fan now, and even Arthur Russell, the sample of Arthur Russell, like, as soon as I started seeing some videos of him, I was like, holy shit, like, this was one of those. It was one of those things. It's like, it's been around forever. Why haven't I heard of this? Yeah, and I'm like, I look even deeper, and I found like I think it was, oh shit, I can't remember if it was Psycho Killer or Burning Down the House, but there's a version of the Talking Heads doing one of those songs, and Arthur Russell, there was like an alternate take that they had recorded, and Arthur Russell was on bass, and I was like, this isn't just like some weird offshoot guy, which, one of the things you learn about weird offshoot people is usually they've, I don't know, I like to call them an artist, which is, the people that normal people listen to, the music that they like and the artists that they enjoy. These are the artists that those artists listen to and those artists enjoy, and very rarely do you see people. Yeah, the ones that are pushing the boundaries, and they're always the ones that, if it wasn't for the underground, the ones experimenting, the unknowns, there would be no pop, there would be no mainstream, because you know, the mainstream doesn't come up with any of these things on their own. They take them from they take the techniques, the styles, the aesthetics, etc. They take that from the people experimenting, and they use it in a way that's formulaic and more, you know, easily accessible and reaches a wider audience, and it's not controversial. And
Definitely, yeah. You know, and that's something like I kind of do with some of our work sometimes. Like I will put in references to certain things. Sometimes it might not always be dead obvious or whatever, but I just think in terms of overall artistry, it's good to kind of tie these things together and choose examples such as those as artists that I really love and really admire. And like I know when money's in the equation, it all gets a bit distorted and shit. But in terms of art, I think that's nice to pay homage to people who have influenced you. You know, so like that Kurt File reference that you said that was in every step. You know that was kind of a reaction from that original song, that original seed. You know, and yeah, man, like it's quite a personal song, I guess, and we never made it with the intention of for loads of people to hear and understand or get or whatever. That was just the first time we all came together, and we came together to pay tribute to our friend, man, for what would have been his 21st birthday, man.
It's a birthday wish to a deceased friend who just never saw that day, man, and like. That was
it was before we had a name as well, man. But that was the seed, like, you know, because one of the last things that you talk about a friend of ours called Cody, that he sent me a message and because we all used to like share music, and me and Dan, as we said before, used to write songs and that, and he was always very supportive of us and whatever music we were creating, you know. And one of the last things he asked us was if we had anything new down that he could show him, which I'd been writing songs but not recording, so I'd always felt like I owed him that, you know.
And that would have been like 4 years ago yesterday, the 22nd. So
yeah,
that was sort of like kind of birth of the demons. It's like 4 years ago yesterday, like
yeah.
now, would you say that was the transition between Trait and Sealing Demons? Because as far as hearing the Trait stuff, I was like, I didn't know you guys had done stuff before Sealing Demons. So then, Tim started showing me the Trait stuff, and I was like, it was so different. It was I heard it, and I was like, man, this is really, really cool. And to think that it was sort of the first thing that you guys had been doing or working on or taking seriously or whatever, it was like, wow, like that, amazing compared to so much other stuff that I've heard of, people, like I said, people being formulaic, whereas hearing the Trait stuff, it was new, and it was I'd never heard anything like it, and it was somebody just embracing who they are as a person or who they are as people, and not catering to it wasn't just a rapper pretending to be a rapper. And
yeah.
But I mean, would you say it was like the transition between Traits and Sealing Demons?
Like it was strange because we were kind of doing both those. Like when we did do 21st Birthday Blessings, we were making music with Traits at the time and that, and so yeah, definitely a transitional period, but at the same time I see kind of similarities in a way. I mean, with that Trait stuff, man, I guess it was coming from like more of like a songwriter perspective. Like I say, there's 3 chords, whatever, man, just build on that, and maybe I can try and put some words to it.
I wasn't doing lyrics or words to it either. I was just doing music on that project. So to me, the biggest transition from doing something like Traits to the Demons was how much more liberated I felt. Not having to write music to put your words
to not necessarily play the chord, play the instrument, and just do. lyrics, man. You know, like the only reason I fucking started playing music in the first place was to use a fucking instrument as a mask. Do you know what I mean? It's something that I can put words to, man. Do you know what I mean? So yeah, the words had always been like important, man, really important. So that demon kind of transition, yeah, man. That I like I say, man. That song was the seed of it, man. And yeah, I mean, from that, like that brought me, Dan and George more together musically, and from that we were like, let's do an EP. So we did the EP.
And yeah, like even like word, like you've gone about like the reference from every step in there, and like there's like enough ones like I use the phrase in 21st Birthday Breston's paranoid television, which he then took to Lord Must Be Strong, and like that's a lyric in there, man. Like it's all
Hypnotized by paranoid television.
it's just sort of like all building on different things. It's good. It's just good to sort of cross-reference your work. I think it's sort of
It's just weaving this word, man.
yeah. So that's it. It's just
What's funny that you brought up that line is the you know, the emphasis that you put on it when you recorded it is, you know, it was one of a kind. You know, you really said you had that like paranoid television. You know, it had that like paranoid jittery type of feel to it as you were saying it. It just brought that sort of emotional intensity. But like you were saying earlier about paying homage, you know, that's I know Wighead has shown you some of the stuff that we've done, and you know, I paid homage pretty much to the demons. I don't think I really paid. I really don't think I mentioned anybody else throughout there, and it wasn't just once, but I think there's at least two that I know of where, you know, it was pretty blatant. Like, you know, not only was all this brought together by the demons, but you know, lyrically, the approach that I took to it was because of the demons and because of what you guys do and the way that you deliver things and the way that it's just kind of like, you know, fuck you, I'm sorry, this is the way that I feel, so I'm just going to go ahead and say it. And, you know, it's not trying to be over dramatic, and it's not trying to, you know, sort of, I don't know, it's not trying to do this like all encompassing, you know, make people, you're not trying to make old ladies cry on a Sunday morning, but your honesty and your truth and the way that you do it, though, like, you're just like, you know, I'm not trying to make them cry, but, you know, I do what I do, and it just happens to make the old lady cry.
All you want is people to feel, man.
Yeah, that's what people feel. And I really appreciate
totally blessed by that, man.
Appreciate the references, man. Like, really big respect, mate. Because I really love them tunes that you've been doing with Wighead and that, man.
Yeah, man, big time. And I actually there's a tune that we've got on the back burner that isn't out, and like again, it's probably not like an obvious one, but I do kind of reference Bad Ideas, like.
Oh, nice.
you might be able to pick that out in the future. I don't know. Like I say, it's very subtle and like, I don't know. Just playing about with words, man. Like you can make subtle connections and that, and it might not make sense listening to it, but maybe reading it, you just pick up in these little things and that, you know. But again, in like every step, like there's reference, like I reference Someone Great and I think Heartstrings in that song as well, like just tying them all together kind of thing. I think it's kind of, like Dan said, it's a bit, or we think it's important to do in our work on that. Yeah.
Well, when I was growing up in the albums that, you know, I seem to like, being a mainstream kid and not knowing the difference, you know, you'd buy an album and you can go back and listen to, you know, any of the popular bands or whatever at the time. I don't even want to name one because you can listen to all of them, and they're all going to have this sort of formula that goes with an album, and it's like the slow song, and usually you can pick out the single. You know, like Blind Melon, for example. Like, I love Blind Melon. They're a great fucking band. You mention Blind Melon and they bring up No Rain. And it's like, I literally had to skip past No Rain every time I heard it because it sounded nothing like the rest of their songs. It was this one song that just kind of stood out, and it was like, what the hell is this? Like, this is just like simple chord structure, and this is like a pop song, and it's like 3 minutes long. Like, what the hell is going on? And you know, there's so many albums that are just like that. But then if you can make an album, like I said, in a bubble, if you can create that bubble around the album and be like, you know, this is an all-encompassing, you know, I made something with a beginning, with an end, like I wanted to say, I wanted to do, I did it. Um, you know, that to me that's the way to go. But you know, so many mainstream and pop people, whatever, it goes into this idea of tracks, and it's like, well, yeah, we'll put this track on the album and we'll put this track on the album, and it's like, well, that's so now you really don't have an album, you've just got like a collection of tracks. Like, and you know, it's not all encompassing, it's sort of all over the map, and it's like, you know, like I said, it'll have some slow songs, some fast songs, some angry songs, some pop songs, whatever, but it's like, you know, if you're not in that kind of mood, like if you're, you know, if you're not in the mood for a slow song, you're not going to listen to the other songs. If you're not into, or if you're feeling depressed and you want to listen to slow songs, you're only going to listen to like 2 or 3 songs, and then something else is going to kick in, and you're going to be like, well, no, I'm not in the mood of this. I want to hear these slow songs. Next thing you know, you have to make yourself a mixtape of, you know, My Sad Bastard Lonely Bathtub mixtape, and you just sit in the tub and listen to all your sad songs, and it's, you know, but one of the guys that me and the Demons have shared together many times, we talked about is Sadistic, and you know, he's somebody to me that it's like, you know, if I'm in that mood, I'm really not skipping any of those songs on any of his albums, because it's you know, it's just very fluent, it's very continuous, the continuity is great. Like, he knows what he's doing. Same thing with the Demons, though. You know, same thing with you guys. You know, it is all encompassing when I listen to Dual Sides, because you don't go from every step to, you know, the Demons dance track. And
yeah, man. No, I hear, man. Like, yeah, Sadistic. I love, you know, the last couple of records he's put out, and definitely, you know, someone you can tell who thinks a lot about getting that tracklist right,
album,
mate. Like that thing, honestly. Like, so say you have like 10 songs, and then you think about all the different combinations you could have for them 10 songs, and it becomes like this fucking puzzle, mate. Like, yeah. It's just trying to get that. It's fun because it's like a little game. But like, it's just trying to get that.
It's the same putting these set lists together when you're playing live and that. You know?
Yeah, exactly, mate. Exactly, man.
Man,
Sorry.
No, I was just going to say, man. I mean, again, I kind of been wanting to ask you for a while, really. 2 things. I know you're, you know, Ryan was just mentioning then about, you know, tunes and whether, you know, 21st Blessing was in transition, but I know there's a tune that I don't know how far it goes back, and then where it does go back to Trait Days, and you know how I feel about this song because it's something I play on the piano every day. It's one tune I learned on the piano and I played it every day. Is We Will Find Our Way. Now that's a tune that I don't know how far that goes back with you, but I know that's something you're working on.
That's a good one.
I don't know whether you're going to be working on that into your new stuff, but that's another sort of transitional song that kind of spans a few years of you, isn't it?
Yeah, man. I mean, a nice one, like, you know, proper blessed and that. I mean, that, yeah, I guess that kind of was like a Trait song. You know, it's one that I never really put out as such. And yeah, I guess we've been talking about doing something with it, but I don't know. We haven't had a chance to. Some of the piano and stuff needs re-recording and stuff like that. But it'd be nice to do something with it. I mean, yeah. I mean, Ruston kind of thought it would be a good place to start off in terms of a new release or something. But I mean, we need to think about all these things. So for the time being, I'm not too sure, like Tim. But yeah, it was kind of that Traits period. It's kind of the same sort of time that we did maybe some of the EP or at least 21st Birthday Blessings. I think it was that same summer. And yeah, I guess some of the themes or some of the lyrical ideas kind can also be heard in heartstrings. There's a few similar themes in there. But yeah, no, I'm glad you like that song, man. Like, again, yeah, that's just 3 chords, just songwriting but trying to rap.
Yeah, but I mention it because it wasn't really till kind of hearing that tune, and you know,
last year when I come to yours after that doing the rabbit hole and had a blast on your piano.
That's exactly what I was going to say, man. And it wasn't till then I thought, blimey, man, it's a real a talent you have that you're not really sort of reflecting in the demons so much, and you know what I mean. Which kind of begs me to a sort of secondary question, man. Have you ever kind of considered with you know in the time you've been with the demons, or just yourself, whether you know straying into something like a 10, 15 minute, 20-minute tune, or is that not even something that interests you in the slightest?
You mean like
one track, 18 minutes?
Fucking hell, I feel like you're putting a gun to my head, Tim, and telling me to dance. He'll do the line again. Do it again.
Again and again.
You make me an 18-minute song.
Mate, you know, like I look at this doing a set list sometimes, and the amount of words that are just in your head that like you reel off like riding a fucking bike, and like it baffles me how you can do that at times. But in terms of an 18-minute track, I can't really say it's something I'd really want to do if we had like a set with a certain amount of time, because
no, I don't mean necessarily a set, man. But if you were sort of considered maybe, like I say, because you like playing piano,
a Ceiling Demons rock opera.
Right? Yeah, like a really epic song. Yeah, man. I don't see why not. I mean, I tell you what's we actually have a few of these kind of things about, right, from the dual sides recording session, and this is shit which will probably never see the light of day. But we did a few. We did about maybe an hour's worth of freestyles on like a load of beats, just getting like looping the beat a good 2 or 3 times. And it's about an hour long, and some of it's like so fucking dire, but some of it's like there's a couple of lines in there, man. Like honestly, I don't know. Rustin had always been like really keep that on the download, but I've said it now. You know what I mean? Like, but like I say, the recording quality, it's like mic levels and that's all fucked, and I can't really do out word, but maybe I'll send you some shits and giggles. Like. But yeah, like so some of them going for like 10, 15 minutes, like, so. Does that answer your question?
No, I was
without a gun.
Yeah, no, I'm more fascinated, right, as you said, so because I kind of saw you play. I mean, this is a real personal, because I saw you play the piano, and I know with the Demons particularly, you don't just stick to rap, you know, the very formulaic, and I know you like playing with acoustic guitars and stuff, and I just wonder if it's ever something that, you know, whether you just sit down by yourself and just play a long epic tune and think, do you know what, I could actually build that into a Demon, sort of like put it on as an album somewhere, or put it out as a track. I'm not sort of saying do it live as a, but I think I'm more kind of, you know, interested in your, because there is that other side to the Demons, you know, there is that whole, you know, very kind of orchestral sort of side to yourself, you know, where you're playing just music and it's not all just hitting you with lyrics over 3 minutes. And I just wonder if that's something, an area that you've ever kind of, you know, ever explored about opening up more and playing around with more, you know, beats and longer time sort of sessions, and that was all it was coming from.
Yeah, no, man, yeah, for real, man. Sorry if I went off one.
No, don't worry about it, man. yeah, dance for you, monkey.
No, man, like, yeah, for real, man. I mean, I'll sit about like at times and just pick up the guitar and just, you know, just blast out a few songs and that I've written on guitar. Never, I don't know. I guess recording wise, I've never sat down and made an epic song sort of like that. But like in terms of like incorporating some of that stuff into the Demons and that, I'd like to. There's more songs that we've been working on that I am doing a lot more singing on and that. So in a live situation, it's kind of hard to like swap between singing for me anyway in key in tune, and then back into rapping. It's like different part of your vocal kind of thing like that. But so singing and that's something we're kind of adding a bit more stuff into. I'm toying with an idea of putting an acoustic track on the new record.
Nice.
Just to fuck with people. But I listen to some dude like, I listen to like Chesky, like, which Ryan,
Oh yeah.
That record that he put out, Broken Bones Ballads, this year. That's my shit. Like that's one of my favorites of this year, and it's just an unbelievable piece of art. And how it's one producer, but how there's all these, heavy ass hip hop beats to fucking folk punk kind of acoustic shit, and it all really flows together well to me. And like, I like that sort of shit. So yeah, maybe there might be something a bit obscure, or that you wouldn't expect.
I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, I was going to say that it's either that or will come the day when you're really sort of like fucked off with the whole music industry and that you just I can see it now. You two just stood on the stage, just pressing one button and just stood there, and then just having some beat orchestra behind you, and that's it. Yay! And then walking off, and that's it. We hate the industry.
Yeah.
Proper taking the piss, man. Like whatever.
with hologram Gigi Allen throwing shit at everybody.
Exactly, man. Exactly. Well, man. I mean, I've got to put a call out because I know it's been a while, man, since me and you, Ryan, have talked about it, and mate, it's been good catching up with you tonight, Ryan. Because I know we've been talking on and off, and I don't, I know just things have been kind
You
of
haven't
tough.
seen the beard face to face.
No, man, I haven't seen that beard face to face, man. And I know, mate, it's been good catching up with you because it's been a while, man. And I, as I said to you the other day, and I don't care saying this to the world and everything, man. I love our conversations, man. You know what I mean? I think they're one of the reasons that has kept me going for this amount of time, knowing that me and you can have a good sit down and have a chat, man. So it's been great catching up with you tonight, man. Because I know it's been
the one
a while.
the one the other night was pretty priceless when he said, "You're like, oh, Phil Mitchie wants to do a podcast at 4 p.m. his time," and I'm, or 4 p.m. Pacific time, and I'm like, "Bitch, I don't know what Pacific time is." And he's like, "Well, it's minus 3 hours your time," and I'm like, "Bitch, I don't know what time it is here."
We don't know what century we're doing, man.
I don't know what's going on.
Must have been lifted with you, Tim.
Exactly, man. Man, well, like I say, man. I mean, like I say, that's great, man. I wanted to say that, man, because it's been a while since me and you kind of had a face-to-face, man. And I know it's, it may be another 3 months before I get to see you face-to-face again. So I have to. Do you know what I mean? So, man, I mean, again, I don't like to finish anything on anything. I'm going to finish this, the tune, man. But I want to leave the last sort of 2 words to you guys. Anything you want to say, and then if there isn't, we're going to finish, man. And I'll tell you what I'm going to do, man. And I've got them all stacked here in front of me. I've got all the kind of A4 size pictures I've done for the Demons, man. So when I'm playing the tune, I'm going to go through. We'll go like a year in visuals. It's not everything because, as you know, I do a lot of stuff on bigger paper. But
yeah, man.
So
that's dope.
Like I said, man.
Can I put some of my dick pics on?
Oh, mate, what do you mean dick pics, man? I think while you're here in person, man, you must well just pull down your trousers and do it in person, man. Come on.
All right, I got a beard on my balls, but here we go.
Man, so like I say, well, everybody by now should know where they can reach out and find you boys. So Demons on Sealing Demons on Twitter, Sealing Demons on Facebook, Sealing Demons in Google search anywhere. You'll find they come up, man. And if they're not in the top 5, well, there's something going wrong. Because I know sometimes on YouTube, whenever you put Demons in, you get there's always at the bottom of the screen that kid of he's got a really dodgy mobile picture of something like Shadow walking across his room or something.
I know you well.
Yeah, man, that's not you.
Yeah,
Well,
just have that in mind. Yeah, man. Fucking, you can find us on all those kind of things and that, innit, man. And just a quick shout out as well. Like, we're free for Halloween if anyone wants us to haunt some sort of music event. Just thought I'd throw that one out there.
Perfect, man.
If you're gonna have a Halloween event,
Oh shit, we're coming for you,
you might
actually.
as well have the Ceiling Demons. I mean, who else are you gonna get? Nickelback? You don't want Nickelback. It's not a Halloween team. You want to get the Ceiling Demons.
We need to get to Ohio, Ryan.
At the end of the day, you can fucking Slipknot or fucking Ceiling Demons.
I think there's a corn maze that you can haunt out here.
Yes.
we got a good handful of corn mazes, and, haunted hay rides. It's God, it's a real barn burner.
Well, the other one, I can't really not leave this edition of this podcast without saying that, man. And I have to I said it earlier on the side, but Dad, and I kind of just passed on it quickly. But again, man, the reason for the very name of this podcast and everything is particularly down to you guys, and you know how much inspiration you gave me for that night when I was on my knees, man, and I was completely gutted, and you pulled me up from that, man, and the other thing as well, and again, and it's something that I didn't know anything about, and it's the very essence of what we talk about, man. It's the idea when people connect, you get to hear about things and experience new events. I had never even heard of Life is People by Bill Fay, and now I think that tune is what I always play. At some point before every podcast, I try to listen to it and think, yeah, that's the motto, man. And again, that's thanks to you guys, and it's just another perfect example of seeds are sown, and and it's.
A beautiful soul-stirring song, man. Beautiful, man.
Man, it is, and it's the very essence of it is. Life is people, like his old man said. Life is people, man, and
absolutely, man.
Life is people, man. So, well, I think that's a perfect way. We're gonna finish with
right on.
21st blessings, and like I say, man, I'll be kind of doing we're going to go back to like 1903 for you here, Ryan. We're going to go back to old school filming. We just literally shot. So we're going to go back to old school film production here, man. So
let me get my flip phone, and we can do this.
Okay, man, let's do this. Cool, man. And like I say, well, mate, from me in here in Gurrock in Scotland, and from your boys in Yorkshire, and from Ryan as well, man. I just want to say, life is people, and it's been an absolute pleasure, man. Tonight.
Don't even mention where I'm from, because.
Peace and love, lads. Nothing is good smoking. Happy birthday, life is people. Blessings, life is people.
Mistakes and we'll all eventually escape. It's all about time and fate. Your actions ripple through your impressions, pick up the spirits and exaggerate. An easy way to paint pleasure and pain. I was always listening. People like you find it easy, whereas people like us feel cursed, food in our hurts, searching for a purpose, always listening to music. Nothing ever obvious to anyone other than us. We'll never be cursed, and that's why we are runners-ups. My best friend's wrong. It's a challenge to get once you so down. I only recall your smile and not your frown. Well, I'm not stupid, I know what that's about. We had our arguments, disagreements, the best of times, and now breakment. Our friendship sailed, but finally sunk. But you'll always remain high in my mind. AK-47 skunk. You know what I mean? What I do, you're brave, and I love you. And when I'm walking, and my head is practically dragging, I'll remember that it's just a feeling. It got higher than the ceiling, yet I'm the only one still breathing. We are demons, and now I'm representing the truth. These crazy dreams, thoughts of a living vision start appearing. These nightmares just keep on worsening. Washing my brain with paranoid television. Sweating out the liquor from another reckless bender. Almost got so far this time, my fingers on the fucking trigger. Gonna get some sense sometimes. You'll appreciate the things in life around you. Lose all the fear and doubt and putting out which opposes you. This one's a shout out to our brother Cody. The biggest love and tender we had our
To Flower.
will always be remembered. Like the smash through jealous, oh that was one of my favourites. It's amazing me how we didn't give a fuck about any boundaries, but within all the recklessness there was a very dark soul in place indeed. I relate to you, brother. I'm just sorry to never say. Just as our friendship remained unplayed. But from you I never heard a bad word, just praise. But both of us, now that's a true friend, and I quote, get your lad out, so good. True, for show. Fucking smokes, let's go. Pure Northern star, still high, still rising up into the solar system. Still high, still rising up into the solar system. 21st birthday blessing.